About 30 seconds to go here. We'll get the latest reading on inflation, so stand by. Market will move on this. Here's what we are expecting. 3.8% up here for the month of February. Remember, the prior 3.9%, 3.7% is the consensus. The core inflation rate month over month expected a 0.3% increase, the prior 0.4%. So again, both expected to be downside. There it is, 3.8% on the core inflation rate year over year for February. 0.1% to the upside there in the wrong direction. 0.4% on the core inflation month over month for February. Again, slight miss on that. Inflation month over month 0.4%, 3.2%. For the year over year, in line with expectations, but this is the big number, 3.8%, basically in line with expectations. So no movement yet in the right direction for inflation. We'll also get a look coming up a little bit later this afternoon at some budget, U.S. government budget details, but downside here for the overall market on that note. As we come back into 437 for the Qs overall, still positive on the day, but again, basically in line with expectations there right across the board for February CPI. We're watching a lot of individual movers across the board here this morning. ARM, one of those, lockup expiration this morning. We'll talk about Tesla again. We'll talk about some of the tech names coming through, Oracle and NVDA, possibly teaming up on a deal here. It's Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. Tradertv.live starts now. Line number there in line with expectations, 3.2% versus 3.2%. Core 3.8% versus 3.8%. Slight uptick though on the month over month number, 0.4% versus 0.3% expected there for February CPI. Otherwise, basically exactly where everyone expected it to be. So no movement yet on inflation in the right direction. We get the initial move downside there for the overall market. Come back into that support level from yesterday on the NASDAQ, but nice bounce underway already here. $2 for the Qs back to the upside, holding on to positive territory. So another kind of ho-hum movement there.
Higher for longer.
Higher inflation for longer.
Yeah, well, doesn't look like we're going to get a Fed cut as expected. In March, it looks like that's going to be kicked down the road to June, and people are even talking about June being too early now, maybe even later in the summer. Yeah, lots to talk about today. Oracle reporting killing it overnight. The deal with NVIDIA, as you mentioned, they're building data centers hand over fist, so lots to talk about.
Yeah, lots of strength continuing in semiconductor world. Yeah, I mean, Fed Chair Powell in Washington last week was saying, we need more data, we need more data, we need more data, here's more data. No change, guys, for inflation. Exactly as expected. If you're just joining a little bit late here, forecast 0.3% on the core number, comes out a little bit higher, 0.4%. Everything else exactly in line, 3.8% on the core, 3.2% on the headline number there for February.
Yeah, and I actually punched the breakdown at 30s on ARM, and I got the heck out. They just broke the highs of the day. So the initial move was to the downside, everybody. Welcome, good morning. And you got down 100 points on the NASDAQ. Now you're breaking back up. We're up 0.6%. So everything goes, it's like just go back to normal. Bull markets squeeze, bull markets breakout, all that crazy stuff. So actually, some of the boys in the back were talking about this. With ARM this morning, the IPO lockup happens, and if it doesn't go down, which everybody's expecting, then you can see a potential like squeeze event, I suppose. But you know what? It's only 8:30, an hour to go till the open. I think there'll be multiple swings at this bad boy. The shoe did not fit for ON. I'm just going to get that pun out of the way. And Oracle blew it out and is through a massive triple top on the weekly chart. Oracle, definitely one to watch. All the chip names in play. Apple up for some relative strength after what we saw with them yesterday. Love me some Apple. Tesla was also pretty strong. Should have them on watch as well. So it should be an exciting Tuesday as we go. Just because SoftBank can sell doesn't mean they will. And remember, they can't. Okay, first of all, so yeah, I know we were talking about the whole shirt thing. They're not exactly the same, but I guess
they're close enough.
They're close enough today. It's not like we check or anything.
Yeah, we've been hitting pretty good lately, man. Alibaba's nicely to the upside, and then Oracle. Oracle's one of the names that we bought. We talked about that. So far so good. Good day here. We'll have to watch out for ARM, and it should be a good reaction, I feel like, to a market open for ARM. Like a lot of volume. We're already seeing good volume right now. We're holding on to a little small piece here, but we had the same. We had $1 in the money on that move. But you can see right here, SMCI right now is starting to spike up pretty nicely here in the pre-market. Big move for SMCI just right now. 1100 up. Well, I guess 11 up to 1130, but here goes SMCI starting to make moves higher here. AMD broke below. I think it went down to like 198 or so. Yeah, 199, 198.50, then blasted up to 201 again there. Now starting to go. And then NVIDIA, we'll still look to see what's happening with NVIDIA trying to get through again this 875. So some key levels all popping throughout the market here. We're still going to be trading Apple to the long side. So CPI again, good read, I guess. I mean, down then right back up. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm going to stay the course.
Who cares about inflation?
I'm going long today.
Who cares about inflation? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, Apple back to day highs here, guys. Like tech, I mean, I guess not up is good. I mean, anything but not up is going to be better than down, I guess, at this point. So, yeah, I mean, Apple back to day highs, as I mentioned. NVIDIA back to almost highs here. Micron on a positive analyst note I just saw pop up as well. There are a few things that are not so positive today. One of those, Boeing. Yet another move downside here, although even Boeing trying to bounce back to 190 here. But, I mean, we talked about the DOJ investigation that was announced yesterday. There's more headlines coming out today. A lot of them are circumstantial, but yeah, it's not positive, that's for sure.
No, it's not, Brendo. Not when you fail 33 of 89 tests. I'm talking about you, Boeing. The FAA auditors conducted 89 tests. They passed 56 of them, failed 33. They did the same thing with Spirit AeroSystems. They conducted, I believe, 13 product audits. Only 6 of those resulted in a passing grade for Spirit. So it's been really tough here, and I'll tell you a little bit about what they were using for tools here, Brendo. They were using a credit card to check the door seal. They were also using liquid Dawn soap to lubricate the flip up process. It's just ridiculous what I'm hearing. So
it's nuts. But I mean, what are you gonna do? It's good that it's all coming out now. Like more of these details are coming out now, but this is nuts. The market also kind of nuts right now, just absolutely screaming to the upside here, guys. But we just took back 190 here for Boeing, still down though, 1.2.
Oh. Yeah. So. I mean, look, you get a kick out of things like it's not again. Look, it's not that funny. And I don't know whether liquid Dawn soap was effective at doing whatever the heck they were using it for on the Boeing line there. And apparently the hotel key to check door seals. Like there is some tricks to the trade that are incredibly effective that you don't necessarily think are going to be. I don't know, man. I
didn't even hear anything.
It's crazy. So they did inspections. No, they called them audits. They did audits of like the different processes for the Boeing manufacturing, and there was something like 80 out of 89 audits. They failed like 33, and then when they checked Spirit, there were like 13 process audits, and they failed 7. Like none of that's any good. I'm not a rocket scientist or anything, but that's not good. The only positive I think. They're trying to bring back production in-house. That's one of the reasons they're making that Spirit deal in the first place. But when you broke that support yesterday on Boeing, this stock to me is a short till it's not. When I see something like that happen, A, you've got bad news. B, you've got a bad reputation. C, you have a flat bottom break here underneath 197. And then just because I want to say D, you don't have support on the daily chart till you get to 175. So the market's deciding it wants to go up for all the reasons in the world. So I still think this one's a short, if not back into 197, which I don't know if we see today. You got 93 resistance. You've got the pre-market highs up at 190.5. So at the open today, I'm still going to be looking short Boeing. We were looking short, got a couple of them yesterday. And I don't see too much of a reason not to stay the course there for Boeing. is what it is, man. Like I own shares of Boeing in my personal account, and if you were like before all of this nonsense, it really looked like we were going to get a consolidation, maybe a breakout, if they could have strung together some positive news. But you know what? Boeing can't seem to string together positive news. That's the problem. They get an order, and then there's more negativity. They get another order somewhere, and then you've got a DOJ investigation, and then you've got another issue on that Sydney flight, and now you've got a bunch of failed audits. So until the bad news stops with Boeing, or it gets back above that support level, it's a short.
Just writing down some Apple ideas here. Yeah, look, it's pretty sad about Boeing. Like, I don't understand anything that these guys are doing. They have a monopoly. They're throwing it away. It's like you land on like Boardwalk or something, and then you trade it for, you know, I don't know, Mediterranean Avenue or something like that. Baltic, yeah. What is the word?
No, those are the two.
Yeah, there
Mediterranean
you
and Baltic.
You know, I mean, at least trade it for like a railroad. You know, so you get a couple of those.
Yeah, well, you get all
going.
4 railroads.
I know, you get all 4 railroads.
You know
if
what?
You're doing something okay. Maybe you wait for Park Place.
We should have like Trader TV monopoly.
But look, you've broken through this level now. I don't think you need to hold on to this trade. We talked about this trade. Can we go, Fabian, the charts?
I know the shirts are interesting.
Shirt thing is lame at this
Like,
point. So, okay. All right. So 195 to the bottom here. If we can take this out, back upside, then I think we got it. But for now, I think this is a definite stay away, man. Down into 190. We talked about the trade before where if you bought this 200, you could hold it down to 175. But we didn't know these guys were using dish detergent on their planes and stuff. So we're going to have to wait for a lower low. I still think you can buy it down here. But you know, to wait for this to happen, like now you're just waiting for more bad news. I mean, I don't think we're waiting for any more good news. So Boeing, unfortunately, is over with for now. I like it back through 196, though, long.
It's such a mess, honestly. Like, they need to do something. Here's the CME Fed Funds tool. So June, a bit of a move down here. If you remember last week when we looked at this the last time, this number was actually above 60%. So we're back to 56.1 plus 11% over here. It gives you, 67, 68%-ish. This back to 32.5 or a little bit higher, 32.6% on hold for June. So yeah, I mean, we're once again, here's the story of pushing it down the road a little bit.
And you and I were talking off camera about Steve Leisman saying that he thinks actually for the first time in a while, we're actually going to get disinflation in housing, in shelter, and that should have an effect on the headline in the core print, but was not to be the case. We still have more inflation in housing, in rentals, and that's keeping the print artificially high. We'll have to see when we get some disinflation in that, but it's still being persistent here, Brendo.
A few names in the retail end of the world to talk about. We had Kohl's. There was also, I just saw that ON moving around here, some volume coming into that sneaker maker guys off earnings. So a couple of things outside of AI to talk about today.
Oh, ON's not an AI company? I thought those were like...
Maybe they didn't announce enough AI developments.
Oh, come
That's
on.
Probably what
That's why they were down so much. Kohl's, I mean, you know my rule for earnings? If the stock is not either ridiculous, big percentage move, huge volume, outside of the normal range, then it's not that interesting. Well, none of those things apply to Kohl's here. I mean, you're still in the exact same range. You're hugging the 50-period moving average. You're not doing an exorbitant amount of volume. There is a decent chance that you could end up breaking down and holding volume one way or the other, but I'm not seeing it. ON, on the other hand, ON holding, what a huge reversal this one had. I forget. I just want to... Okay, there was some trading going on this morning because guys came in early and I'm going to out them here, because guys came in early to look at some ARM. And then there was a moment when ARM was doing absolutely nothing and ON dropped their earnings and all of a sudden started going. And I'm not going to name any names, but there was some trading in it. It was starting to fall back into the downside. And then right about when it got to 28, I heard them say, "Hey guys, should we be looking at this?" And they're like, "Why didn't you yell it out?" I'm like, it was death quiet in here. I could hear the boys talking about ON, but it just goes to show you want to trade what moves. You can think that ARM is going to tank because of the IPO lockup, but then all of a sudden you get somebody that comes out there and reports disappointment earnings and turns what they thought would be a profit into a loss, and you dunk down $2 on a $30 name. Now the bounce has been pretty spectacular. It should still open up SSR, short sell restricted. I think that's going to be the case. And what I like about this, for obvious reasons, you got some volatility, is you look at the 50 and the 200 period on the daily, which are smack dab, well, I mean, they're not really exactly the same, but 29.5. So underneath that $30, I think is going to be a key resistance. On the bounce, it faded that exact same level. So where it faded is right in front of that 50 and 200 period moving average. So I think if it gets back there, it might have a little trouble breaking it out. It also gives you a spot for a potential squeeze breakout at that 30. That's where my eyes will be for ON. I don't own the shoes, but I can tell you, in this market, if they're expecting a profit and you swing a loss, I mean, it's not going to be good.
I mean, we saw Nike go to the downside as well. I mean, there's been some retail issues here. I am turning this guy bullish, obviously. As the sticky note is now out with all long ideas. We had written down the long before the CPI number came out. It was a little bit of a moved in, but now they're just like, okay, we already know we're sort of pushing the can down the road here on interest rates. We know that they are going to get lowered, obviously, at some point. It's just it might take now a couple extra months. And as Brendan just mentioned, they're looking at March, June, go push it on. And we're going to hear, the Fed's going to roll out and have some speak at some point again. So we'll wait to hear what they think about that CPI number. And then we have PPI coming out again soon at the end of the week. I think it's Thursday is PPI. But there's a nice move back in for Apple. And it just, on that level, it came into 173, which is matching sort of where the 200 period is. I think we like that as a dip buy. I wrote down 72 because, again, we had talked about 172.50 yesterday. So that's the level on the sticky note. But I like 73 here for Apple. AMD's going for a jog a little bit as well, up to 202. And look at AMD. Let's go. I mean, if you believed in some of the, strength in chips despite its recent weakness, you had a good dip buy opportunity yesterday in AMD and let alone NVIDIA as well. All these names starting to run. 880 now for NVIDIA. If you were dip buying yesterday, 840 came into play for NVIDIA. You're now 5% up on that low from yesterday. And then we brought to you guys SMCI just as it was breaking through 1100 there, getting up to 1130 as a high. So some of these chip names, as I guess we've all sort of been watching, as the chip names continue to run higher, the market goes with it. So there's SMCI, AMD, and NVIDIA all starting to march a little bit here in the pre-market.
Yeah, NASDAQ definitely leading the way here. We are, it's 0.6 on the S&P right now as well. So nice move back to the upside for both of these. Tesla, huge mover yesterday out of the gate. We get a move all the way back to 182 and a half, bit of a pullback throughout the midday and then into the close. But gapping up here again this morning, 1.1%. Elon's going to be in Germany tomorrow to check in on Berlin Gigafactory to make sure everything's back up and running as they said it was going to. Ramin is visiting. He won't, don't worry. Morgan Stanley, meanwhile, talking about Tesla and their Bitcoin. Remember way back when Elon was accepting Bitcoin for Teslas, but they've gotten rid of that, and the correlation, according to Morgan Stanley, non-existent anymore.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't see that he was talking about that again. But yeah, with respect to the issue in Germany, Brendo, this Vulcan group, which is a far-left activist organization, took responsibility for the attacks on that power station there. As Brendo mentioned, Elon will be there tomorrow. The power was officially connected back to the Berlin Gigafactory yesterday at 8:45 p.m. local time there. So let's get some production, Brendo. They want to produce 375,000 Model Ys out of this plant, and by not building, they're losing about 1,000 cars a day. Yeah. So they need to get it going.
I guess the boss has to show up to make sure everything's working properly. Just to visualize that difference or correlation, if you go back to what is this? I guess the middle of October of last year. So September of 2023 through October, middle of October of 2023, Bitcoin and Tesla essentially the same. They split at that point, and we all know what has happened since for Bitcoin and Tesla.
2023. Okay, so
I
that's
like
when
that.
it all got going again. We just missed ARM up there. We were at honestly, the order's right here at 134.95. It went to 133.95. It went to 133.90 as here comes ARM right back in. So a nice little move as we hold on to a piece of this one, making a move back in for ARM. No bids on this, but we did have offers, and I just changed it now to 70. I don't know if we come back up there or not, but yeah, what a run. What a run for Bitcoin. What a run for all the altcoins as well. Solana has been an absolute monster, as many of you will know. But Bitcoin, just if we're going to go, let's do a little bit more than a 1 minute. Let's go to a 30-minute chart. It's pretty stable right here. It can't really figure out what to do. I wrote down here again on the sticky note today that we would be looking at Bitcoin breaking through 73,000. And the reason why we liked Bitcoin through 73 here, I wrote it right down here, is that it held pretty well on that CPI print. So the fact that it held pretty well on the CPI print leads me to believe that, we'll probably go back up to the upside here and break through the 73,000. And if that does happen, then yeah, we do want to be on some iBit or even some Coinbase possibly. Coinbase has been a little bit of a tough trade, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it had a pretty dramatic move down all afternoon, or at least it's felt like it, the last hour and a half, I guess maybe even since the top of 270. But then from 270 down to 255, pretty dramatic move late day there. A little bit of a recovery today, up 2%. That's nice. I guess if Bitcoin gets going, then we'll look to short Coinbase somewhere up here and then just figure out why the selling happened up there at 270. So again, nothing wrong with a couple red candles in here. I think pullbacks are healthy, but I don't want to go long Coinbase just because of this. So if we're going to do something, it would be at 250 because of an even level, but I'd rather short up here 268, 270. So on a crypto run, we'll go Coinbase short, probably around 268 there, give it to that 270 or whatever yesterday's high was.
Yeah, like to me, the longs are in, well, maybe Bitcoin, but like IBIT for us here, best volume of the ETFs. But I have a chart up of Mara from yesterday, and that is nasty. Like Mara was incredibly weak. The miners are not participating in this rally, something to do with the halving. A piece of it has to do with the halving. These guys also had an offering, and then their earnings was a bit of a miss. So they had a few things go wrong for Mara, and yesterday rejected 25, even with Bitcoin bracing off some highs. Now, there was a flat bottom break on this one, just like there was on Boeing. It was about 21.5, 21.40. Should have held that short, didn't. Not gonna lie, but right back into 21.40. We get to that price. I'm still looking curl on this name. If there's any pullback in BTC, then I like the shorts in Mara. And maybe Coinbase sets up as well. I just feel it's a little safer to be looking for these ones as relative weakness the way they were yesterday than maybe standing out in front of the all-time high on an iBit or something along those lines. Let's see what some analysts are thinking today and why they might be downgrading on. I have no idea.
Some continued positive analyst sentiment here for Coinbase, getting an upgrade from Raymond James, trading up about 2% today. Carvana also trading higher after getting this upgrade from Jefferies Financial. Lots of positive sentiment for this name coming recently as well. Oracle here with an upgrade from William Blair after its earnings report yesterday. Pretty strong there across the board. Dollar General here getting an upgrade from JP Morgan Chase to round out this group. For downgrades, Acadia trading way down here and also getting a downgrade from Mizuho. Raymond James downgrading NGM Bio. Silvercrest getting downgraded by Desjardins. And last but not least, Pent Air here trading slightly lower after getting downgraded by Exane BNP Paribas, guys.
We'll talk. Oracle's interesting because, of such a monster beat, there's going to be numerous upgrades, but we're going to get to Oracle in a couple minutes. So we'll wait for that. I feel like Roblox caught a downgrade today, but I didn't see it on the list there. I'll have to do my own research on this, but it's down now 3%. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me. We had Michael Noss on the recap show yesterday. Thanks, Michael, for that. We did a little bit of Q&A with him. And then someone asked me in the chat, because I said, hey, is there any questions for the people? And they said, what's Michael Noss's one of his best swing trade ideas? So he said Roblox long at the levels yesterday. So yesterday we were at 42.50. Now today you're down to 40.50. So a little bit of a downside push here for Roblox, and it's against these 38 levels. So I don't know if it's going to be a day trade today. Like I said, we're going to have to figure that out. I would assume that Roblox caught, here, let's just do this live. I'm going to assume they caught a downgrade, RBLX or something. I mean, you know, there has to be something. It's down 3% right here. Yes. Oh, Kathy Wood yesterday. So she might not be playing it as much here. Sells nearly 31 million at Coinbase. Oh, that's just Coinbase. So I don't know. Anyways, we can find out here. There might be something. Kathy, later. And Roblox purchase reflects ARK investor in technology. Okay, so purchase Roblox. Okay. So Benzinga doesn't have anything right now on Roblox, but either way, down 3%. This is a name that I'm looking to pick up, especially if we get near that $40 level.
Yeah, the one that was interesting there, well, obviously we'll talk Oracle, it's on earnings, but Carvana is up 2.5 points today. There was a huge dump in this off the 90 level the last couple of sessions, and then yesterday was pretty nasty breaking back through 85, but it caught a bid. Ideally, this would be 74, 75 where this had bounced, because that's an obvious level on the 15-minute chart. But if it's going squeezing through the quad, then it's got to take out not yesterday's bottom, but this bottom here from Friday, 82.5. So, I mean, look for that. The bids above that, I think it could go on a little bit of a jaunt. I'd feel much better about it had it been bouncing off of 74, 75, then the longs would be, I feel like, a little bit safer off of that level, because if you're taking a breakout here, you're not giving it $6 on Carvana. You're going to have tighter stops on any kind of a long above 82. So if it does dip into 75, it's worth a watch, up 2.5% with the market. But now the market's starting to make a little more sense coming back in here. But yeah, we'll see. Carvana is a good squeeze name, but my rule with squeeze names is, well, if they're not breaking resistance levels and finding bids above them, they can't really squeeze. Like if you're not putting shorts under pressure, then nothing's going to happen.
Another notable earnings name here, downside this morning in a pretty big way. Trying to hold on to 18 here. ASAN was the forecast that was an issue here for Asana. There's a whole bunch of mostly negative. I mean, Oppenheimer maintaining outperform there on ASAN, but the forecast a problem here for this one.
Yeah, you're bang on, Brendo. They beat on the top and bottom line here. Revenue beating expectations, 171 million in Q4. The street was looking for 167. EPS beat as well. The street was looking for 21. They guided 22. It was really here the full year 2025 revenue miss. The street was looking for 725 million. They guided between 716 and 722. So a bit of a miss there. Like you mentioned, 16 brokerages covering this name. 8 with a buy or higher, 4 with a sell. So we'll have to see how they do the rest of the day.
I mean, this daily chart is, speaking of not a miss, but a bit of a mess, stuck in a range from 20 bucks to 17.5 since December. I mean, we're right in the middle, essentially, of this main range, guys.
Asana's got a healthy heartbeat here. I mean, that's about the only thing that kind of a chart is good for. Well, that's not true, but it's mostly what that chart is good for. Like, it just looks like, hey, someone is literally in control of this stock from 17 to 20 bucks, back and forth and side to side. But the 200 period's at 200, 20 bucks. So if it had any chance to get up there, to me, when you see this, you kind of usually short tops and try to go long bottoms. 70,000, oh, wait a minute, somebody just sold 15,000 shares. So 87,000 shares have now gone off because someone just sold 1810 for the largest print of the day. That just happened right there, and it literally didn't move the stock. I'm going to call it a nothing burger unless it's trading at 17 or 20. When you look at that daily chart, anytime I see daily charts like that, the only levels you should want to play, maybe you can look at this as some kind of a trend, and then say 1750 would be the bottom of the trend line. That's up to you. I would rather look at the support level on earnings day and extend it out a little bit. So if it's breaking 17, or if for some reason it's testing 20, I mean, if it's testing 20 somehow, that would be an easy short, but that's 10% up when this is 3.5 down. I think you're more likely to get the 17 level. I just don't see a trade here. You got all the chip names in the world. You got Tesla, you got Apple, you got ARM on the IPO, lockup expiration, Rivian, which we'll probably talk a little bit about, showing some signs of strength. You've got Boeing in play, Chinese ADRs again in play. It's hard to look Asana seriously without the volume unless it's trading and breaking one of those key levels. But at least it's obvious on the chart.
All right. Asana, yeah, I don't know. I was saying yesterday that Asana was just chilling in the sauna during earnings because not much was happening.
I love this
with that. So we'll wait. For me, it's just more about Palantir. If we're going to look at a name, that could move again. Palantir up 1.26%, so better than the market. It has been falling in as of late. I think some froth just taken out. We've seen NVDA drop. It was down. I think it was down. What was its high? 922 down into 840. So you've seen that drop about 6, 7, 8%. And same as Palantir here from the high of 27.50 into 25. I think we could buy, in and around this 25 level right there. So we were bouncing off against it, and then we made that move into 23.50, and then that was the bottom, and then boom, back up to the upside. And if you tried 25 long right there the first time we broke it back up, it was great and gave it to you to 26. Then we had, a big move down, and this was just a early move that one day where we broke through 25, bounced off 24.60, and then made that move right back up again. So I feel like there is some kind of support down here to 25. If you are going to take it, I'd get out at 25 and then reload it back down here near 24.50, because if you break 25, you may go into these levels and test again. I remember this day, and it left me a little bit sour because we did have this long back upside, but we had lost here and made it some back. I don't even think we made it all back on that move back up. So try not to get too carried away with some of these key levels, but I like 25. And then if we get down here, I think this is a big load up area down to 24.80, 24.60 for Palantir. So I really do like that trade. And I'm still upset that we missed ARM by 5 cents. That would now be $5 in the money, but that's too bad. You're going to make those trades and you're going to miss those trades. So short there and out, hold on to a piece as we go back in. But we did try to reload it there and missed by 5 cents. I wish I was up on that stock because there's so much liquidity. I could have just punched it short.
Before we go back, there was a note here on Alphabet. Google confirming it's restricting Gemini election queries globally. And, well, Google drops $2.50 on that. So Alphabet was positive about 5-10 minutes ago, and now to the downside with the NASDAQ up 0.5%. I mean, Google down 1%, seemingly on that note. I didn't see anything else hit the wire on Google, so I'm gotta suspect it's going to be that. This was setting up for a potential 139 breakout on Alphabet today. I think you can maybe stick a fork in that one with that news.
else we need to know here as we get going at 9 o'clock? Sharif's going to lead us with a look at the futures.
We're looking at the June contract today, guys. We've rolled over here on the ES. So we closed out yesterday 51.85. We're above 5,200 right now. So I was inclined to say, let's see if we can hold on to that 5,200, but I think we're far too volatile right now to say 5,200 as a level of support. So let's go ahead and say the overnight high, 51.85 as support, and the overnight low, 51.85 as support, and the overnight high, 51.20 as resistance.
As always, if you have not grabbed the watch list yet, super easy. Just go to the website, tradertv.live. That pop-up will pop up, and then you just enter your email address, and then it just comes every single day. It's that easy for free. Semiconductors back at the top of the list here this morning. A couple of different angles to note. I just saw NVIDIA trying to tick up higher again already. 2.4% for NVIDIA this morning after, if you zoom out a little bit, it's been a red couple of days here on a pullback for NVIDIA. There's this, the other side of it we'll get into with QCOM, but ARM on the lockup today as well. Yeah. We should mention that. Where do we look here for semis?
Yeah, it's a great question, Brendo. ARM with respect to the lockout period now about more than the 10% that was just actually trading is going to make its way onto the secondary market. So watch out for volatility there. A lot of traders already looking at that. You saw Sean short here. Oracle also coming out and making a little statement yesterday with respect to their earnings report that they're going to be teaming up with NVIDIA. So more to see on that, Brendo. But yeah, another green day here for semiconductors.
They do not stop. 2.3 here, guys, for NVIDIA.
Well, they stopped on Thursday. To say that they don't stop would be to ignore what happened on Thursday. And really, Thursday. What happened on Friday, and then really yesterday, there was one big bounce off of 850, and then for the rest of the day, this was teetering back, not teetering, but sliding back into the downside. You can see from Friday, the 900 level in the afternoon held up like right about noon. 900 was resistance, and then you got this lower high here, 888 that we saw yesterday. So if you're not breaking out 888 or breaking out 900, you haven't taken out resistance yet on NVIDIA. I think that's where things would get juicy on both of those breaks. Clearly 850 is a big line in the sand. I don't think we have, I don't know, there's always a chance that we see that. An 850 break would be pretty darn spicy on NVIDIA. I am somewhat bullish. I'm gonna be back into ARM at some point. I should have waited until the open because unfortunately, like that short into the 131, and it didn't break 135 for next level up. The market was strong, thought we had a chance to get to it, so I'm in and out, but we're gonna look for a way to get back into this. If there's one of these that is a short, want to start looking for the IPO lockup on ARM. I don't really have too many ideas on Oracle, but we talked about this breaking out of a fresh high. If you look at a weekly chart on Oracle, I'm just going to pull it up for you. 127, huge double top on the weekly. So if that holds the open, Oracle could really go. It wasn't all perfect in the report because the revenue was a little bit of a miss, but if this holds on to the 127 level, understand how big of a deal that level is on the weekly. So I'd be all over that. If it can't break it, I think you can look for longs on Oracle over 127. But a little more interested in the NVIDIAs. Oh, AMDs of the world too. AMD off that 205 from yesterday. NVIDIA, AMD, ARM as usual.
Yeah, look, man, let's just say that was a good idea. I mean, we finally got Oracle right as it finally pops up 2 bad quarters in a row, gets us long, and boom to the upside. So now this trade is over 20% in the money for us, and we're probably, I don't know if we want to sell this or what. I was just wondering about again, now it's had a huge move up and you're breaking through these levels. And if you joined me yesterday on the market recap show, which I sure as heck hope you did, we actually saw this move down early and was like, uh-oh, down to 108. Those are those levels again that we came into here, and it supported it. That was on that bad revenue number. They missed estimates there on revenue, but then EPS upside, plus positive talk, plus NVIDIA talk as well. Nice move to the upside. I wrote down on the sticky note, let's look at 124. Again, the 200 period moving average there. But that's not a correct one because I don't start the charts till 7 o'clock. But if you want to, that's how I use them. So down there, 124 could be something. Let's just wait. I wrote down here on the sticky note, let's give it 10 minutes because if you're long like some of us are, and again, thank you for all the nice tweets and everything yesterday about that. If you're long Oracle and you want to get out now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's a nice move upside. We just got a little bit of a hotter print there in CPI, which is kind of strange why we went up that high, but still, tech, this is a name that's breaking out again. It's a huge move up. I could see traders coming in and selling the profits on this name, being up 12%. The expected move was like 4 or 5%. So I'll double check that as we go back, but we're short ARM as well, but that story's coming up next.
Yeah, we'll touch on ARM here on the lockup set to expire here today at the open. We are higher right now, but on the way back down with the overall market. I mean, not much to understand here. There's a lockup when something IPOs. There's a period as to which shares can't be sold. That period ends today for ARM.
Yeah, so essentially SoftBank put about 95.5 million shares up for trade when they IPO'd. So that's the available float. That means that they held on to 90.6% of the shares. Now that the lockup period is over, since 6 months have elapsed since the IPO, employees will be able to sell about 11.4 million of restricted shares that have been previously off limits to sell. Whether or not they sell it is an entirely different story. They're eligible to sell it, Brendan.
Yeah, a little bit more pressure coming in now, but still, as we said, positive here, guys, for ARM so far.
Probably, yeah. So we're the same way here. We've been talking about this lockup for a while, man. Every guest we've had on the pre-show, we've talked about this with Michael Noss on this show as well, Daniel Shea yesterday, and we've just been talking about this day. So here it is, man. It's March the 12th. We're here, and ARM is kind of just you know, big moves early, but I think that's just a lot of excitement coming through there. We stopped out on 132 just because we didn't want to hold it if it did get up to 135. But we did mark this down. That 135, 136 here today was going to be a trade for us off the sticky note. So that's, you know, we wanted to go short. And unfortunately, once we made this top, we sat right here. You see this top was 134.30. Once it broke down, I sat at 134.95. It went back to, or 133.95. I keep saying 134. 133.95. We were sitting there to get short and missed that top. So if it comes back, we'll take it again. So we'll try to go short again into 132 and whatnot. But, you know, just because the lockup is here doesn't mean that they're going to start to sell. So I was saying if we break above this area, you know, 135, 136, then I say you get the heck out of the way, because if it starts to break higher, there still is a low float situation. It's not, we don't have proof that they've come in and sold anything yet. It's only 1 million. I meant to look up how many shares it was, but I think it's 35 million or something like that they can now sell. But we'll wait to see what happens with ARM. I'm going to have to double check that number. I only remember it because someone last week, it was Chris Brecher, dropped a website that had all of the information about this. So anyways, we'll wait to see, but I'll go short again near 132. Watch out for 136. That's my stop spot there for ARM.
And you saw the little pocket version that we got there for the new mobile version of the stream. So if you're on your phone, you can check it out. It's a separate stream. It's amazing. We're now on multiple platforms. I think we went on the gram today. Yeah, so it's on Instagram today. It's a little weird. I'm looking over myself, turn the head. Love it. So, you know, bigger and better. Pretty much every single day we're trying to do something a little bit different. Although every single day we're always trying to short ARM going into this, I think it's not trading. Look, it's not trading down here. That's dark pool wicks. We're at 129. Every single available level I want to be looking at for a short. Maybe they sell, maybe they don't. Maybe others get out in front of it. It's a lower float. It can squeeze. So you had the 131's an obvious one. 135 from here. If it breaks that, you've got maybe a 39.40 and then a 42. But you can see what I'm getting at here. Any resistance level on the way back up, I'm going to be looking for shorts. But just understand, if the expectation is for amongst almost everybody that there's some selling is going to happen, if it doesn't come in at the open, and there is no program selling, well, it could squeeze a little bit. So in the back of my mind, I'm going to always have stops. I'm always willing to stop it out. Just because my bias is to the short side doesn't mean I want to blow this one up today. So ARM up 2%, mostly because the market made a bit of a rally. But I'm looking to short the pops into all of the resistance levels and take shots at each one.
Yeah, there's a couple of, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok today as well, guys. Go check it out. The mobile versions are available. 1.3% here once again today for Alibaba. Trying to...
There was something here.
Trying to sell off a little bit here. Just got back below 76, but trying to hold here. But ADRs across the board, bucking the trend for the overall market, strong again today.
Yeah, and Xiaomi, the cell phone maker out of China, now releasing their new EV, which they teased a little while ago, the SU7. It's going to come out on March 28th. You'll recall yesterday Chinese ADRs were trading higher on higher CPI and higher PPI. It was also the end of the parliamentary meeting where a lot of economic issues were discussed. They've been talking about propping up this market and their economy for a while, Brendo. They want to hit that 5% GDP.
Yeah, we just gave back the entire CPI move there on the overall market, so a little more downside coming into play here. But yeah, these are pretty strong so far, guys.
Well, look, Alibaba's up 1%, but I think you got to put a grain of salt on that strong here, because yesterday you had a great opening candle and then it just sold slowly off the rest of the day. Pre-market, you're gapping up and it's slowly selling off. But I did say yesterday, if we can hold that 75 level, I think that's a good sign for Alibaba. So you probably know where I'm going with this. 75, key resistance turning into hopeful support on the way back in. So I'll be patiently waiting this one. There's no breakout trade for me on Alibaba today. It would be trading off to 75 or pretty much nothing. So let's be patient with it. It is sliding back down. You want to see continuation for a move like this to the upside. So I need to see some buyers at that 75. Kind of a disappointing end of the day or rest of the day after such a strong opening candle on Alibaba. But I'll be looking at that 75 level. I don't think there's much else to pay attention to for that Chinese ADR. Good to see it start going. You want to see some continuation today.
All right, so just opening, so we'll talk about BOBA in a minute because it's my #1 trade idea. We just got long Apple down there at 172.65. Just ripped up to 173 and change. We're going to wait to see if we get something out at VWAP off open right now. But yeah, Alibaba, go find it at Trader TV. Sean here. It's my #1 trade idea into today. It's Alibaba long 75, looking strong again. Let's just continue to play breaks. You can go read about it if you do want that. But I feel like down here to 75, let's go. If it breaks 75, we can hold it a little bit. That's 74.80 and change. So we're already bidding down low. Here we go. It's already 50 cents in the money now on Apple. We talked about if we were going to buy some strength, we did want to buy something in Apple, but we're not out yet. We're waiting for 173.50s or 173.40s in the 40s. If it comes back up into this area, then we will take a piece out for Apple. But so far, so good on that one. But yeah, my #1 trade idea today is the Alibaba long. Let's just see if we get it. Yesterday, it happened way too quickly off the jump. Right, boom, right like that. And then we tried the long back here, and it just didn't work against, it was 75.30. So we got out at 75.30, which was a good one as we come back into 74.80. So, we can be wrong by it breaking there. 74.80 is wrong for me on Alibaba.
All right, let's talk about Boeing here. As we said, back to the downside. We're below 190 once again, which was basically the bottom end of the range from yesterday. There's so many headlines here that are just crazy. This one is maybe the craziest. Yeah, I mean, this guy worked for Boeing for 32 years, retired in 2017, but was actively participating in this whistleblower campaign against the company. Turns up dead. Make of that what you will. There's no suggestions or ties of any sort whatsoever yet. I haven't seen a cause of death or anything to that matter yet when it comes to this. But I mean, the guy retired back in 2017, was actively participating in this whistleblower campaign, and then all this stuff that we were talking about earlier with how they were going about conducting these safety examinations is crazy.
Guys, you need to watch the Boeing documentary. That's all I got to say. It's on Netflix. If you have access to Netflix, it's on there. It'll put everything really into context. Another headline, though, with respect to Boeing today, sadly, comes vis-a-vis Southwest. So they are basically saying they're going to have to trim their capacity plans and reevaluate their financial forecast because of aircraft delivery delays from Boeing. They actually ordered about I believe here, 76 different Boeing 737 MAXs. They've reduced that down to 46. They're not expecting to get many of those this year as a result of these new issues. So Southwest and who knows how many other airlines that are relying on these deliveries, Brendo, are going to have to re-guide.
Yeah, 3 days in a row here, downside 1.7. It's worth noting there's not a lot of volume here yet for Boeing, guys.
So the More Trader TV board shows me short AMD. Some people were asking. I haven't traded AMD today, but the other two positions are correct. Long Apple and short ARM. So just in case you guys were wondering about that one. Yeah, Neil and I just mentioned that to each other, like what the heck is going on with this company? It doesn't make any sense to me that you could be, such a storied franchise, really. I mean, Boeing in the Dow, huge name, been around forever. Billions of dollars, monopolistic opportunities. And this is what they're dealing with now. It's ridiculous. So the move continues to go lower here for Boeing. I would say you just fade everything. There doesn't seem to be any good stories coming through. I mean, if you can get anything up to 190, which I feel like you'll probably be able to get that, I would trade off that 190. Right now, by the way, Apple's really starting to get a nice move back up to the upside. We're almost out of that trade. We almost got filled on it for a quarter of the position. Half the position will be out of it. But anyways, I like the short there in Boeing. It's got to get to 190. Watch out for the 200 at 191. It doesn't seem like it's good news, but if we break above this like 197, 198 area, maybe you guys just saw my chart disappear there, then maybe you can get 200, break long, and then you get this garbage out of here. But for right now, that's exactly what it is. I would say you hold on to your Boeing trade if you're short, and if you're long, I'd say you could probably dump it now because this 175 is definitely incoming, and I don't know. I don't have much to say about Boeing. I hold it small in my account, but it's not a great trade here.
I remember the moment that I contemplated selling what I had left in Boeing and just putting into GE, which I like a heck of a lot better, and I didn't do it, and now it's like, if it can't hold on to 175, who cares? Short the pops, 191, 193, 197. It was a flat bottom break yesterday. Boeing was my second best. Obviously going short, you're not going to have lost on it, and 193 was a great level. We were shorted a couple times at that level. I don't know if we see that today. So I think the lower high 191, the 190, certainly, if it breaks higher, I'd still take a shot at that 193. I'm on the offer. If we get a pop at the open, I want to short the pop on Boeing. If it just continues to break down, then we wait for the first available pop and then try to short that and look for those setups. You always have to have a setup for your trade. And if that gets violated, then I don't mind getting out and then looking for the next one. But with a flat bottom break like that, I just think, you look for the short, and until it proves otherwise, this one's in the penalty box. Boeing is. Thank you very much, Rob, coming through with the gigantic coffee, courtesy of apparently Mr. Henning there, Mr. Perfect. Let's go back to the desk and talk about some Tesla.
Just real quick, Paramount just popping up here. Apollo apparently reaching out again to Paramount, so 5.6%. Not a lot of volume behind this move, but PARA moving higher on some volume. Yeah, we can talk about Tesla here. I mean, there's a self-driving note that came out, a bit of a negative report as far as the software itself is concerned on the safety side. There's the Berlin aspect as well. Elon going to be in Berlin at the factory, making sure everyone's working, I guess, on Wednesday.
He'll have to have an uncomfortable couch delivered, Brendo, so he can nap on that. No, in all seriousness, though, they produce the Model Y at this plant, and they want to produce about 375,000 of them a year. Give or take, they make about 1,000 cars a day, and that's been on hold several times this year, whether it was because of the shipping issues in the Red Sea or now as a result of this outage. So he's going over there to make sure things are going straight forward.
We're still moving higher here on Paramount as well, so just keeping an eye on this. A little more volume coming in now, guys.
Paramount moving a little bit, but I mean, Tesla was somewhat strong yesterday. Like a lot of things, though, after initial press higher, you then ran into resistance up at 184. I still like to look for the long above the 180. That's what we did yesterday a couple of times. It was the 180 long, and when it couldn't hold, I probably should have been reversing shorts underneath that price, but I think you got another chance today. If it breaks out from 180, look for buyers into 184. That stands out as an obvious resistance spot. I don't want to go short that level. Rivian is holding nicely. Yesterday, I was trading a 13 break in a 1350. I don't know that I want to double that one up just yet, even if it's setting up exactly the same. But I have the close here on the 7th. That was Thursday's close at 1240 for support today on Rivian. So those are the two EV names that I'll be looking at, pretty much the same as yesterday's trade. But that, 13 break actually looks okay. I just don't love a breakout trade when we've seen what the market just did, which is go higher initially off of a number that you would think would be a little bit bearish and then pull back in. That's not really a breakout setup. That's a buy the dip setup, if you like, a long more than anything else.
So quickly, we just got out a piece of Apple, and then now there's news about Rumble having an offer for TikTok if and when they have to divest, right? TikTok's not being...
Everyone's going to have an offer for that.
Right, exactly. So just a nice...
I got an offer.
Just
no, I don't.
No, you don't. But then right there, $7 upside there. Just tried to break out. Just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention there, because if they are forced to divest, someone's going to have to come in and buy them. The last time they had talked about Oracle and stuff like that, but I don't think that they'd manage it. So there's Apple. We are waiting up here at VWAP. Let's take a piece out right now. So a nice little early 65s out 30s there. Let's give it 70 cents for Apple for an early win on this one. Let's go back to the desk.
I saw an article suggesting Kevin O'Leary might be in that as well last night that I was reading. So yeah, show that. Here's the headline, guys, for Rumble.
Yeah, Dear Mr. Chu, writes the letter, Brendo, in the event that ByteDance divests its ownership in TikTok, Rumble is ready to stand and join a consortium with other parties seeking to acquire and operate TikTok inside the U.S.
As the guys were suggesting, I think there'll be a long lineup of people willing to jump all over that. What's coming up today on the midday?
So today we are talking about trading strategies for a volatile market. We're talking about volatility all week. So make sure to catch out on how to trade with Adair and I at 11.
Think we might see a little volatility today? Yeah, I'd say so. After we get a CPI print, took the markets higher. You got Bitcoin, which is chilling out up near the tops. I mean, IBIT's, I'm watching IBIT. It's about, like 20, 30 cents off of its high. Mara did pop, and we're looking to short some pops in Mara. It did get into potentially the first level. 21.4 is a flat bottom break area. So into 21.5, I would take a short. I'm now sitting at 21 even. Still think this one is a short to pops. It showed you resistance just now at the afternoon high, which is what we were shorting late in the day yesterday. So I want to try to work that 21 into about 21.15. Boeing continues to say kaputs. So I'm going to move from one. The lower it goes, the more it has to pop if I'm going to short a pop all the way up in front of 191. Now I'm going to bring it down a little bit, working off of yesterday's lows, which was 189.80. So I still want to short the pop in Boeing, but the goalposts continue to move lower and lower and lower with this bad boy. Alphabet, on that note, Gemini is going to basically not answer electric questions or whatever. Still to the downside, down almost a full 1%. We're going to get some imbalances, and we'll see if there's any lingering imbalances on this bad boy.
Oh, wow, ARM.
Wow,
ARM
just
is let
died.
go.
Wow.
$7 now in the money on ARM as it just continues
Bye-bye.
to flush right now. See you later, ARM.
Somebody dumped a
right there, big
huge
one
low.
coming through right now on AR to the M. It's going to be an imbalance locator right there. So it's not even that big of a sell. It's only 590,000, but there it is. That's exactly the kind of cash that we're talking about as the bears come out in full force there on ARM. I'm just watching this, and all of a sudden I'm like, what? Nice move down there for ARM as the pain trade is now going to be on, as we talked about this one. So that's a good hold there. We did get out of some. Here comes ARM right back down in. Now good trade there, and then out of some apples. So we'll start it off with some pretty hot moves here to go. There goes ARM. Nice little flush city. It's too bad that clip it thing isn't working. Is it working, Ramin? I just said it. Okay, good. All right, so there you go. So I think we should probably post this up ASAP because there's a nice move to the downside right there for ARM live on the show. So there it goes. Let's see if there's any sort of effect on any of the other names. There should not be.
I don't think
the
so.
idea. Like if AMD fell because of that, we're buying it.
No, NVIDIA went up.
Right. They're all holding higher.
Yeah.
They're all doing the same.
They're all
stuff.
holding higher.
So good move there. Nice move for ARM. We should probably get out, but let's just hold on to this and see what winds up happening. I mean, if it does hit, we talked about 115 as being a level. Let's just bid 115. We don't know if that's going to come out or not, but that's a level there that we had talked about, and I'd be sick to myself if it gets down there and we don't buy it. So we'll put a bid down there for ARM, 65 cents in the money for Apple, $6 in the money for ARM.
Yeah, okay, the imbalances came out, and that was pretty much an algo drop. Like someone was waiting for that to happen and saw it and said, whoops. But I think, look, I'm not sure this is going to be done because when liquidity comes in off of the open, there was a pivot spot at 27s. I'm going to work into this one. I think 130 is when it happened, so 130 is a level to watch. All I was going to get to with Alphabet is 135 as support on Google. That was a big one yesterday. If it continues to drop, 135 would be the level of operations on Google. I liked Apple in a different spot today. I like Apple off the 172 higher low that it put in, and then 171, which was Friday's close on Apple. So those are two levels that I want to be a buyer. As the market's holding on to 18.3 there, but you knew it was going to be a wild one when the IPO, or potentially a wild one when the IPO lockup expired, and ARM continuing to the downside. Just remember, if you're thinking correlation in the chip names today, try to remember that this has its own news. NVIDIA actually popped on that. Not popped, but NVIDIA jumped like $3 at the exact same time that happened. So going its own way is NVIDIA. The 888, not making it up, the 888 is your resistance spot on NVIDIA. If it gets through that, it's got room to 900 today. I forgot to mention Intel trying to hold on to 45. That was a good runner, strong mover yesterday, 45. If it holds this support at 45 even, this could go on a bit of a squeeze. But have a look at the 44.60 and the 44 levels. I like those for potential dip buys here on Intel. The chips might just end up ruling the day here with what you just saw on ARM, especially if you can get that down and then maybe the money goes into NVIDIA or something.
All right. Yeah, we only have a minute and a half to go right now, so we're going to see. And that was, you know, part of this imbalance locator coming through, right? So you see how they're already been paired off? So here's ARM, whoops, now it's gone. So there's no more imbalance at all, right? So this move could now just pop right back up until, there it is. So there it is again. So it's already paired off 900,000. It just keeps on disappearing. I guess I could sort it by, but there it is again. So 135,000. It just keeps getting paired off. So what that means is there's been over 1 million put in to this. See, it's 830 plus 130, so about 980,000 or 960,000 worth of sell shares in there, and they still have 132 left. So you could see like 100,000 shares basically off open kind of hit this name to the downside. So that could be what happens. We'll wait to see. It could also pair off in the next 30 seconds.
Easily.
And nothing winds up happening at all. So we'll wait to see what happens with ARM, but we've got it right now. Congratulations that those that do. Up to 131 is another shorting spot potentially here for ARM. And Apple's still doing its own thing with only 10 seconds to go. We'll be watching ARM and Apple early as well as Alibaba. Coinbase maybe.
Yeah, coin some Mara as well as we drop in 3, 2, 1 and ring it. Oh, and right into Mara as ARM just broke the 125 again, but I got Mara off the open there. I was staring at Tesla, which Tesla dropped $2 right before the open. That caught my attention, but Mara was able to get short. We're shorting back into 21s. We're sitting there and got 97s and just got some out at 80s. So Mara's starting to head down. It's the only position that I am in right now, so we're trying to be a little bit patient. Intel holding 45 right away at the open. I said I would be in the long if it held the 45 level. Looks like that's what it's doing.
All right, Apple's starting to go. It's the same stock, same trade as we've always had. It's now breaking through VWAP. We don't really want to buy anything right yet here. We talked about waiting to see what was going to happen in this market and give it a couple seconds, especially with a name like Oracle, which, okay, just opened now. So now Oracle's open. We're waiting for it to open. We just get it right now. It wicked down to 125.25. So that's the temporary bottom. And like I said, would not be a surprise if Oracle came in and people sold this name. The expected move was actually 9%. So the fact that it's here at 10, I didn't realize it was supposed to be that juicy, but yeah, 9%.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
Me too. So it's not moving around as good as we had hoped for, but it is making a move to the downside. So that's Oracle right now. And then everybody's favorite short is not a short as ARM goes right into this level. One more time, as we mentioned, a nice little whoosh at the beginning. There's that first trade down to 122 and change.
There's a big seller at 126.5 on ARM.
Oh, wow.
Now.
Good move. You got short? No. Oh.
I just tried to get, it was too fast. I saw it and couldn't get anything. I'm trying to get something in the mid 25s if we can pick it up. But at 126.5 had a big seller. So I just jumped in there off the 25s. And if I see it there again, I'm probably going to add to it. I just want to make sure it's still on the book. So the only positions I'm in ARM, I'm still in Mara. We didn't get the long on Intel, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity because now it's starting to bounce off 45 even. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, nice volume spike here for PDD. So one of these Chinese ADR is pretty strong right now amidst overall strength in China. But yeah, PDD definitely one to watch here. Pinduoduo, nice volume, guys.
All right. Yeah, we're watching out for BABA, which isn't really moving. Apple's coming down a little bit, and here goes ARM right now, $7. Starting to go lower here, so good call there. We'll wait to see what comes through, but right now ARM is printing to the downside. Good trade here. I know Neil's got it as well, so hopefully you guys are watching this, man. This was on the sticky note. We've been talking about this for a while. It's ARM, and
the long arm of the law.
Yeah, it's the short arm of the law today for sure, as we're now $7 and still going. And Apple's doing Apple things, man. I mean, it's just bouncing off those lows again. We may have to buy those 173s, but we're trying to be patient as honestly. I mean, look, we're on the right names. I don't know why I'm not leaving ARM here, but it's just the market is just right now starting to go lower. So let's wait to see what happens here with ARM.
Yeah, I mean, like, you knew ARM was going to be the big one. I was really trying to get shares closer to that order at 126.50. And this is a day. If I see a size offer on this stock, I'm gonna want to go with it today because the IPO lockup and all that stuff. But if it breaks 120, there's all kinds of room. There's your daily chart, 115. I did get Intel long, but as ARM goes to the downside. By the way, Mara is also tanking. If Intel breaks 44.50, I'm not fighting it. Forget it. I don't want to fight any longs here today. Mara's already down to 20.30 and trying to bounce off pre-market support. I'm going to ring the register down there. You know how I roll. So I'm going to trail this Mara position to about, I think I want it to 2040 in there, maybe even 2035, and then see if it gets down to 20 even. That's falling a lot faster than expected when Bitcoin isn't.
Okay, so here comes Apple. We'll wait for it. Hopefully it does fall in a little bit to where we got long before, 172.50. I mean, I'm not ready to flip short on anything yet. I mean, we're short ARM, but that's the same play as always. So we're going to wait on some of these trades. We're going to look over at our sticky note. We talked about Alibaba long at 75. It was Pinduoduo, I think, that Adara was talking to us about there. So thanks, Adara, for that one. But here comes Alibaba back in again. We're still waiting for 75 long, and that's where I'm bidding. So a little bit into that level here for Alibaba as that's starting to come in just a little bit. Amazon's coming in a bit as well, but the market's fading. So we like Amazon long. I marked down yesterday this 173-ish area, but here we come again, right into the 200 period. Nice move down. It's just, you can't take a long now if you think the market's potentially getting lower. The CPI came a little hotter than expected, so here is the reaction to that right now, starting to break below VWAP and starting to get lower. Now $8 in the money now for ARM.
Yeah, 20 just, I got out of Mara. We had 20.97 short, 20 just broke. I got out in front of 20 at 12. So we get the quick little target. We like the short on Mara. We said that was relatively weak yesterday. And Coinbase, if you like that, that was also relatively weak. It faded to 260. Didn't matter which one you had. You got to be happy with it. Take the money and run. Watching ARM come right back upside. If there's still sellers at that 26.5 or in front of that 25, might look for the reload. Might have looked to gift horse in the mouth. I didn't find a place to add to that one when we wanted it. So we need to be a little bit patient, breathe. 1 into the 2. 2 into the 3. What in the heck is going on with Tesla? Why is Tesla down $5 off and still tanking? Yeah, I'm not on the bid of Rivian right now, am I? No, I'm not.
All right, yeah, the same thing. I mean, the market
Rivian is Rivian is at 1240 already. I wasn't on the bid. That is that support level from yesterday. Oh, I just got Apple? Yeah. Oh, okay, so the market's really starting to bleed in here. Of course, I just got out of that Mara short, and now we're long Apple in front of 172. So yeah, for a second there, I thought it was maybe just only Tesla that was going down. And then I saw Rivian, and then now we're getting Apple in front of that 172 level. And immediately does not hold on to 172. Yeah, I don't want to be fighting this. I got one short. Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I need to find some shorts, and I just piled into Apple long. All right, so we're long Apple right now. Let's see if it works, man. There it goes. Nice little dip in. We are bouncing around a lot off of 172 right now as this market is starting to bleed down. Adara, find out about Tesla. I don't know. Neil just mentioned, but I didn't look at it yet.
I mean, $5 seems like a lot, but what do I know?
Yeah, it does. ARM $7. Here goes Apple, starting to break pretty aggressively below. Let's get some more out here at 197. We're only long at 124s, but we always talk about not being caught too offside here too early. So we'll have to see if we can get a little bit out here. We just got some 97s there. Let's see if it goes back up to the upside. But Apple right here, dropping down below 171, 171.75. We're going to be out of Apple. So here it goes, man. Pretty sick in this market right now, straight to the downside. Again, off of a bad CPI number. We were wondering why there it goes. We'll fail out there on Apple, which is fine. We tried the long, we like the long, it's not the long. Right now is Apple coming in pretty aggressively right now. I wondered why we had went up there. We had sort of talked about it, but we didn't short it, so, talk is cheap.
Oh, that's why Microsoft's up. I think someone just asked, look, man, I got in and out of Apple right quick. Thank goodness we got out of Intel underneath support. Because look at this thing. If you hold on to it, bye-bye, you're screwed. And that move to the downside is nasty. ARM is now at 122. I think we could see 120 on that. I don't want to give that short up. I want to look for a place that maybe we can add it. But why might Microsoft be strong? Because that negative news for Google and Gemini, probably the reason why Microsoft has relative strength. So I don't care to explain it. I just want to acknowledge it. If it holds 408, maybe that's your one shot at a big tech long today. As far as Tesla goes, maybe it's just a symptom of the market if there's no individual story. So I canceled my Rivian bid because of what was happening on Tesla. I'm not going to just sit out in front. Just because I like a level, I'm not going to sit out there and get destroyed on it on Rivian. But it did get to that 12.4. But I canceled my bids on Rivian when I saw what happened to Tesla. That was probably a good decision. If it gets down to, if this breaks 12 and goes to 1165, that is a big level. Let's go to Adara.
Not seeing anything new in Tesla. We did have that story earlier today, basically that Tesla and some of these other EV names are getting low marks for their automated self-driving technology, according to this Insurance Institute for Highway Safety study. So it could be a late reaction to that. Also worth noting, there's a lot of bearish sentiment right now for Tesla on Twitter. And within the last minute, lots of tweets coming in with regards to Tesla put. So could be a little bit of social media action getting involved here as well. Tesla to the downside, guys.
Okay.
All right. 171 got here a little bit quick. So I liked two levels on Apple. One was 72, and the other one was where it broke out from yesterday in front of 171. So I'm going to jump into it here. Watch out. ARM is starting to come back to the upside. So it did bleed, and maybe there's not as much selling as you'd expect. It didn't break the 120. I'm looking for a place to roll into more. 125 is going to be it. There is some size at the 125 level. So I'm going to see if I can add into this. I got into Apple a second time. This is not the first trade. This is now a second trade in Apple. If I get back into Mara, I got to pick my spots here because it's still bleeding to the downside. VWAP's going to be all the way up at like 2030.
Should have shorted something.
Should have shorted. There's no pops on Mara to be able to get back into this short. So we'll have to be a little bit patient and try to pick our spots there as you're seeing continuing to bleed. Thankfully banked on the short, but it'd be nicer if we could have found another place to get in. Beggars can't be choosers. So if Apple can't hold 171, then this is the last of the dip buys that actually has a level that's held for now.
Yeah, I don't want to dip buy, or I would. I mean, I think Apple's there as well. We already tried Apple, and it lost that 72. And then we tried again at 71.50. We actually made a little bit there, and then it broke. So we got pretty aggressive there and took a little bit and made some back. But for right now, no, downside. I was actually looking for AMD shorts again right now, and that didn't happen.
Cancel.
Again, yeah, I was just looking at AMD right now as that's straight to the downside. You could just short it here and hope that you're not too late to the party, but NVIDIA, it's only 9:40. It's crazy. This is the worst coffee ever, pretty much. Okay, so up here, 876 coming through again. See, NVIDIA is strong. AMD is going the other way. So AMD down 1.3% off. Lisa Su yesterday came through on CNBC and had some nice things to say about AMD, obviously. But up to 126 goes ARM
Watch
again.
out for ARM.
This is starting to rally back a little bit here, ARM.
Yeah, it's starting to rally back in there. You're seeing it. It was that 26 level where there was a big seller at 126.5, but if it doesn't hold that, then it could go absolutely parabolic. And then the next level up is like 130. So if it breaks out like 27s, it could easily see the 130 levels and starting to scream back into the upside. Apple tried to hold. Come on, Apple. I just got out ARM. Okay, that's not 127.
Right.
No, 127 did not break, so that's a keystroke on my part. Should be getting it to 127.
All right, I wonder if that was the flush there, maybe.
Apple's trying to hold this 71.
Yeah, I'm going to try Apple again. Only because, oops, I'm on ARM right now. Sorry about that. There we go. So we'll go into Apple right now, again, just to see if it does hold 171. I'm not excited about it, but I'd hate to, go through this move and then right there back up to the upside here. Let's see if Apple wants to go. Here it goes. Finally got this back on Apple. What's up, Adara?
Downside right off the open here. Geron, G-E-R-N, basically FDA coming out and saying that there are risks associated with their anemia drug that might not be outweighed by the potential benefits. So pretty rough look here for Geron. Down on volume here today, 8% short float, guys.
And Boeing. Oh, Boeing hit 185. Like, we liked short on Boeing, we didn't get it. We liked short on AMD, we didn't get it. AMD just only tanked. When the market moved up on that number, you start thinking short the pops. And then when you start thinking short the pops, this happens and you get nothing. Absolutely nothing, except for Mara. I mean, Mara and ARM, by the way, I said this before, if you make a keystroke error, then the first thing you do is rectify it. Sometimes that means sucking it up, buttercup, and getting back in. The stop should have been at this local high at 127. For some reason, I had it where the size order was. I just jumped back in. So effectively, I lose on the trade to get right back in at the same price, get it back, because now we're underneath 125. Apple finally catching a bit of a bid here. It's up at 171.5. VWAP, I don't care about VWAP this early, but it's at 172.40. I'm going to get a leg out in front of 172 if we get another one, because this market has been entirely too weak to be hoping that the shorts can go down forever. I think it's a short the pop situation today. Mara, yes. Boeing, if we can even get one. Boeing is saying we don't want to pop, but 186 to 186.5 looks like something for that name. If you're watching Tesla still, I mean, maybe we see 170 today on Tesla. What was the bottom last week? It was 172. We're at last week's bottom. Okay, 172 is last week's bottom. That's too tight. I don't want to go long Tesla there. I'd wait for a lower level than that.
All right, AMD is AM dead right now. It just keeps, like, we were waiting for 198 where VWAP was. It should have been 197. So we could try it up there, but I just wonder again if it really starts to rip. You know, where do we stop? Because this is a very, very dangerous game, shorting some of these big cap names, especially on the tech side, right? Right now, especially with the NASDAQ making this move, just going red here. I'm okay shorting pops. I just don't know about right this second. So if AMD, look, I'm sitting here with shorts for AMD. I'm waiting for 196 and then 197 and then 198.50. But we have to go up another dollar. I think that's possible. Let's try 196, 197, then out if it does break higher. And then we can sort of regroup and say, you know what, we tried the long but missed it. We're $7 in the money on ARM, so that's all good. And then there it is right there. Let's go spin some money back end for Apple. We talked about waiting for it to try to base out there. It did do that. We were both looking for some longs there, and we definitely found one with Apple off of 171. I'm only out of 40% of that. Whether or not it stays long or not, I don't know. So we'll get out and we'll wait. But ARM's still making lows, trying to come into this low anyways. 122. We're right here right now. 122.50. One little whoosh down, and you'll get a push in ARM.
Dying.
So ARM right now to the downside. Mara dying.
I see in the chat they're like short Mara. I'm like, trust me, I was just there at 1988. And it flushed, did an up-down wick off of 20. Back underneath, I tried to get 88. It's now already at 1950. Like, this thing is just bleeding so fast to the downside. It's like, I don't want to be punching bottoms here, but it's like if you'd done it, you're laughing. Another seller emerged, 171.5 on Apple. I took another leg out there. We're 1 for 2 on Apple because the first long was absolutely no good. But it's a bleed central. We'll hang on to ARM. We should have obviously hung on to Mara. There's no question about it. But that doesn't mean I'm jamming bottoms here. That's not the plan of action, man. Like, I don't want to throw good money at bad. That's the way the saying goes. Even Boeing here, we want the short in Boeing. We'll have to wait for it to get up to the 186. NVIDIA is at 865, and 850 was that big level. That was yesterday's bottom on NVIDIA. So this does have a lot of room to still drop. VWAP doesn't really matter this early, like I said, but that's all the way at 875. This hasn't been falling that far. I think maybe a pop in any of these names are going to work. ARM is down at 122. Watch out for a 120 break on ARM. If it breaks 120, I think it gets to that 115 level that we were mentioning. So I think we got to be a little bit patient here. I do not want to be jumping the gun on any trades. You want to make sure everything sets up and goes. But right about ARM, just should have had other shorts too, maybe held on to some Mara. Coinbase, if you're watching anything crypto related, Coin broke 250. Probably should have mentioned, you can make the assumption with ARM, with Mara down. Coin got to $242 on that last flush. It was a $17 drop on Coin from the open.
$17 drop. Okay, well, we had I just canceled my coin offers. We were at that 260, 265 area. No longer at all. So, you know, it's a couple of
Wow.
Bad situations today, man. Intel down 1%. AMD continuously going as well. AMD still cannot find a bottom there on AMD unless we did at 194. I mean, I was just looking at it and didn't think we were able to find a bottom, but down 2% now goes NVIDIA. Marvell's been absolutely crushed over the last, okay, there, NVIDIA's finally starting to come in a little bit, so there's no surprise there. And, you know, I wasn't joking when I was talking like about 700 there on NVIDIA. I think that could still come in. Not today, but that could be a level that we talk about in the future. Apple, so we got another piece out there at 50s, so that was good. We only now have 40% of this trade. I do not have any more bids on Apple coming in. The market's flushing pretty good, but we can bid the low. Did we break? No, we did not break 171, but we came pretty close right there to exactly doing that. And we're coming back in again. ARM bouncing around a little bit off of that 122. Here comes Apple. We'll try it here off 08 or so. We'll just punch long, and then we'll put in our stop in and around 170 low, I don't know, 170, 80 something. If it breaks on that, then we'll get out of Apple. But right now, oops, that's still ARM, sorry. We're buying more Apple right now at these prices. So let's see where we go here as it's trying to bounce off 171 again, hopefully.
Yeah, if you like excitement, this is the market for you, no question about it. This is the place to be. My stop's a little bit tighter, but it's a distinction probably without a difference. It's underneath that one. I hate even dollar stops. It's underneath that 171. If we get back above core, it's going to be taking some out. I just got in tomorrow on a pop back into that $20 level, so I just kind of went back to the 88s. Going to give this to 10s as that's starting to come back to the upside. By the way, Bitcoin did not budge on that last move. Bitcoin has held really, really well. That breakout could still be incoming. If you're looking for some strength somewhere, BTC might have it for you.
All right, let's go Apple. Here we go. Spin it again on Apple. So good trade there. And again, man, take the shares, put the money in there, and see what happens. So there goes Apple. Nice move back up to the upside for AAPL, buying those 171s. AMD is trying to run back, which is perfectly fine by me because now we flipped over to the longs. So we can still get out of ARM. I'm going to still stay in it. You guys might want to think about getting out right here if you break above 125. I could understand that for sure. Apple, so we just got another piece right there. What price did we get? We got 44s there on Apple. So that was a good runner. If we can get back up to 172-ish, then we'll consider getting some more out here. But if this market turns, man, we've got Apple and we've got it long on a couple reloads right now down there. Patience very, very key as we wait for Alibaba as well to come in. If patience can win this game, we'd be pretty happy with that as well. Bitcoin still 72. Let's go find out what Adara's up to.
We have a small cap earnings name on watch. This one has a market cap of roughly 360 million. That's going to be PACK. Ranpak Holdings. This one reported earnings last night. EPS miss, but earnings beat in terms of sales and also some positive revenue growth. Forecasting here for PACK, guys.
All right.
IBIT's about to take out the highs any second now. Oh, and I actually just punched out of Mara when it did this, and now you're getting a bit of a come to my chart for a quick little second. IBIT on the pre-market high there, tried to break out 41.3. If it fails that, I jump back in tomorrow. We are at 171.50 on Apple. This is where the seller was last time. Let's see if they are there again. If it can break 171.60, I think you can see some 72s. And look out, the 122 bottom on ARM is coming in. If it breaks that low and holds 20s, I'm probably going to put a trailing stop in back above that 122 if it takes out that low. I want to make sure we capture the profit there as it continues to flush to the downside. So that little turn on IBIT is going to get me back into Mara.
It's going to get you excited up there. Okay, we are right now just starting to short AMD, and like I said, this is a problem spot. We're short AMD right now. If it breaks this 198 is what I was kind of going to wait for, but now 197 is where VWAP is, so we're going to have to watch out for 197.50 break here on AMD. We're just starting the position, but we are waiting for some more up here right now, and there's the fill right there at 197. So VWAP is in and around here, so one more fill, and then that will be it. Shout out to my good friend Phil as well, as you know, a good hockey friend there. All right, so as we come back in, let's see what happens now as we pull back in for AMD a little bit. not. Just tried to take 197 downside and it held, and now we're pushing 197.50 is where we're gonna get out. So we'll go 0 for 1 here on AMD if it takes 197.50, but that's the plan of action. It'll be a 70-cent hit. Here it goes. It'll be 70-cent hit. We're short at 196.88. So watch out for this one. Coming back in just a little bit. We could take some pressure off, like 10% if it breaks 197 in case we get a bounce, but here we go. We're in this name right now. Nice pushback a little bit. There it goes. There it goes. All right, so AMD goes into the money now, and let's see if it goes back down in. There's a little bit of a rejection off of 197 again.
Oh, speaking of rejection, no rejection on Apple at that 171.50 as that just blew through it. So I think you can see the 172 here. For any type of against the grain trade off the open for me, I'm looking for that VWAP out. If we can get it, we'll be perfectly happy with that. I still want Boeing short, and this market move to the upside you would think would give it to you. But Boeing just popped, and it popped 60 cents off the low. That's it. When the market just bounced 70 points, and now talking about the NASDAQ there, the ES also bouncing about 10 handles, and that's all that Boeing can do. So this is incredibly weak. Maybe working off of 186 if I can get 85 halves. I do want to be in this short. I do not want to be too aggressive. As I said, IBIT and Bitcoin, just to cover some of the names we're trading, I'm trading Mara, and if this, that was weird. If this breaks out, I'll probably dump out of Mara, but as long as this holds that top, then I want to be short, and I just jump back into Mara when it held that top. IBIT, of course, being the Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, I want to make sure everyone knows.
Okay. So we just keep on getting out basically for nothings here. We just got some more 90s. We got some 80s. This could wind up being a base. I mean, we'll lose on it if it takes 197.50, but it's going to be roughly a flat trade for like an AMD type of trade. We'll wind up losing 40 cents now if it goes back in, but we've just caught some out for flat there or a little bit of a loser. Let's see if it pushes. I'm bidding 196.50 here. Let's see if we flush down a little bit. I'm also trying to watch out for NVIDIA, which is holding 70s right now. So yeah, NVIDIA at that same level. It's at there it goes. It's at VWAP and higher. So if AMD can't hold this 197 short, then yeah, NVIDIA is starting to go upside as well. So although we picked on AMD because it's the shorter name today, looks like it's getting a rebound as all these chip names starting to go. I'm still holding out, man. 45 cents either way. We're bidding 50s now. So, you know, it's going to crack one way or the other. What's up, Adara?
Assertio Holdings here up about 18%. ASRT is the ticker for this one. They did release their earnings, including an unexpected profit per share. Also worth noting, they have a 10% short float, and they also filed for a mixed shelf offering of up to $150 million. So nice look for ASRT, guys.
ARM took out that 127, so we took it multiple times off of that level. The last time it's going to go. Next stop is 131 to 130 to 131. If it doesn't hold the 130 to 131 level, there's 135 up top as well. BTC is breaking out, so I just got out of Mara. Gonna have to dump that one. Early good, late fail on Mara. Let me just do this for you on ARM. It'll be easier to see. Plan of action is if it doesn't hold 27s for the long run, look at the 130 to 131 and then the 135 levels. I want to be jumping in and out of this one, giving it every single chance for the big flush, but I'm going to have stops. I do not want to hold past like a $4 level on ARM. So it's back underneath 27, which means I want back in. On Mara, the initial short good, but the shorts at the bottom haven't been holding at that $20 level. I don't want to wait for 21 even. I want to look for some more shorts down under on ARM. Still nothing for me on Boeing. Unfortunately, Boeing just cannot seem to get high enough to make any kind of an entry where I'd have a reasonable stop. I'm sitting here at 185.5, just looking for a way into this short.
Yeah, we're 50 cents in the money on Apple. Neil just addressed ARM. I'm just looking at AMD, which is really not doing anything here at 197. I feel like we're going to be wrong on this short, but I'm waiting for it to do something. So here it goes. I don't know, is it gonna go? I don't, again, it's been up here before. We'll take a little bit more short right here, but here it goes. There it goes. So that's, you know, again, we're not even going to cry over spilled milk on this one at all because we had just talked about that. I thought that was worth the risk. Very small hit there on AMD for that shot. And there it goes, back up to 198. This is a level that we were initially thinking about. The futures are here right now, but standing in front of this might be a little bit of a problem because we just talked about NVIDIA as well as, okay, that's all right. I thought that was going to take 875, which it didn't. So maybe AMD could be reshorted here. Just let's try it a little smaller, and then we'll see if it can work, because this is not exactly the right level. We just offered 60s. We didn't get it, so we punched into 50s. Here comes 60s back again. Let's just try that 198 level. That was going to be a level that we were looking at anyways. We just got into it a little bit too short, but without being too stubborn on this one, you know, we'll take our lumps on it, because it did break that 197, which was the area. So we'll bid something in the 30s now, see if we can make something back. And then if it holds 197 still after this, then so be it. So a nice little push back here for AMD, as we'll make a little bit back now as it falls back into the 20s and we're short 60s.
Yeah, speaking of chip names
There
that
it
got
goes.
back up to big levels, 45, Intel's back at 45 even. So if it holds a bid, I think it's a strong name if it can hold that bid. And we talked about that looking for longs on Intel, but it just did this wick to 05s, which is going to set it up for the over-under for me. And the under part of that is, if we're still looking short, give it to 05s, short this back into 44.80. If it breaks the 5s, I get out and I consider going long. I'm not at the point where I'm jamming longs on this just yet. The NASDAQ is holding underneath that original open price of 18.3, so there's still some signs of weakness there. But this is one that could be an easy breakout if it gets maybe over the 5s and 10s. I want to give it a bit of a chance to go.
Okay, yeah, we're at 198 already, so that was real quick, man. But we're short here at 198, so we're just going to give it to 198.35s. If it breaks that, then we're out. But this is moving 20, 30 cents at once, which is great for me. I really like this style, but it does rinse you when you're the wrong way. So we're going to continue to watch out for this one and see if it can pull back into the 90s. But we're just pennies away for one more time getting knocked out here on AMD, as we just try the short again. It was weak early. The market was weak. We didn't have a great CPI print, I thought. And I don't know what the market thinks about it either, as it's trying to digest. We'll have to go over to Oracle and all that after this, because here we go, or Boeing. We're going to have to go over to something else, because there goes AMD again to the upside. And I'm just looking over at the net. It's like, it's a small P&L hit for AMD, but it's been wrong. So we were long on Apple early. That was wrong. Made some money back on this. And then really just a short here on AMD that we just got stopped out of. That's been wrong. So those are the problems.
Size buyer on Intel.
But now, yeah, but now look what's happening, right? Look at the NASDAQ now.
It's a trap. Well, I'm going to hit it anyways, but you know what? Sometimes all you can do.
Oh, that Intel would have been good down there, yeah.
Sometimes all you can do is spring the trap.
Yeah.
So I said Intel, if it got above 45.05, I'd take the shot short and be willing to reverse it. Someone stepped up on the bid for about 80,000 shares, and they hung it underneath 99. Tricky you putting it that and not the evens. And I'm going to quickly show you guys in the higher time frame. This is why we have 45 marked off. Willing to reverse it. Maybe should have had that on the dip, but I gave a shot for that short to work. And now you're well above that 44.5 level, breaking out at that 45. We'll see what happens, but I've sprung the quote-unquote trap, and I'm into Boeing short, finally. The first available pop into VWAP on Boeing. Let's go to the desk. It's time for happening now. It's 10 o'clock already.
Wow.
Yeah, as Sean was just saying there, futures having a very confused reaction to that CPI print across the board. Lots of movement here for the market. ARM is, of course, going to be on watch with that IPO lockup period coming to an end. So lots of excitement here in the market today on a Tuesday, absolutely, including for names like Oracle here, up over 10%. They had an earnings EPS beat, sales miss, but pretty strong revenue growth. And also worth noting, they did say that they're going to have some announcements with NVIDIA coming up next week. So nice look for ORCL. We also do have Boeing to the downside after continued slew of bad news for this name, including some disappointing results from the FAA audit as reported by the New York Times right now. And last but not least, ONON, that's On Holding, the running company, trading very much to the downside here after an earnings miss across the board. Bad look for ONON, but pretty good look for the rest of the market, guys.
Yeah, Oracle was one that we wanted to look at, I think. Right?
Oracle's still inside move on Oracle, still a little bit here. It can't hold that 127. ONON, that is On Holdings, which is a New York stock apparently. Neil. That's barely moving at all. So yeah, kind of nothing burgers there. The new position for me was in Boeing.
Okay, yeah, good. We got a big trade here with Meta just quickly as it's starting to fall down here a little bit. I mean, the market. I mean, Boeing was a good, I think that was a good call by looking at Boeing, but right here, new position now. We did reshort AMD. Apple's starting to go back up to the upside as well. We just got a 172 fill there, but just a new position on Meta against 495. It just tanked into 492 there. So I don't know what was happening, but that was a good trade for a second until it's not. So new position here on Meta was falling down and is no longer. And we did just recoup some losses there on AMD, but I don't. Intel, I really like the Intel long, man. I mean, with some of this PC talk, I think that's going to be a good one.
And of course, by PC, you actually mean personal computers.
Right, yeah.
Not the political correctness.
Oh, no.
That is punking. Oh, Google actually bounced. Google recovered everything.
All these stocks are starting to bounce a little bit here.
Yeah, Alphabet actually recovered after that drop. So good for you, Alphabet.
Yeah, good for
Strong
you,
move up.
Alphabet.
Look, the move on some of these chip names, NVIDIA, I don't know if we've been looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA right back up to 878. Look at that huge reversal. I said it might have been a trap to reverse Intel. We'll see. The buyer got filled, so they got the shares they wanted. That's trappish. They got filled at 99.
Trap-ish.
Yeah,
I
if
like
it can't hold 90, I got to jump out of this and just take the hit in both directions. Sometimes when you play off a size, someone's playing some games on you there. If it bounces VWAP, great. If it doesn't hold VWAP, I got to get out of it. I said earlier I needed more shorts, and then I reversed one short into a long, and we'll probably take the hit. I did get Boeing. It's about 77 cents in the money. Let's see if we can get to that low of the day. As Intel, there it is. Once it broke that 90, I'm out. I'll look for a more calm re-entry point. Boeing, we'll see if we can't get the low of the day. I tried adding on the way down in Boeing, but this is the one we wanted first, and we never got it. So we'll try to be patient. Patience was the way to go for Boeing. Let it pop, short the pop. Let's see if we can get it back down into that low. If I am wicked out of Intel on that 90 level, I'll wait till there's buyers above 45 again. I don't want to be long off 90. I want to be long on strength over 45. It's 45 or bust for me as we go back over to Adara at the desk.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on NVIDIA here. There's a report coming out on generative AI from the information, and basically saying, amongst other things, that some executives, product managers, and salespeople from major cloud providers, including Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and Google, were privately saying that most of their customers are being cautious, or deliberate was the word used here, about increasing spending on new AI services. So basically, looks like spending on AI for at least some of these companies, according to this report, may not be seeing any increases. So worth keeping an eye on stuff like NVIDIA here, guys.
All right, well, we're ringing some registers here. We would hope for a little bit lower on Meta, but we're short right here. We're 70 cents in the money. So we just took 20s twice. So it's not like they're great fills. We took 25s twice, sorry. 493 25s off of a short 78. Okay, here we go. Now, oh no, we're starting to go back to the upside again. Wow. All right, I thought we had another print there, but it was AMD. So thanks for that report there, Adara. We're just in this name because of the high.
IBIT is approaching the high.
IBIT? Yeah, okay, so there goes Bitcoin. We'll have to look at that. Okay, here comes AMD. So a nice push down. Thanks for that report there, Adara. We'll see. I mean, a lack of spending in AI, I feel like that's a little bit of a funny report there. Probably not something that I'm going to rest I'm not going to rest my head on that. So let's just take another out here if we can get, okay, there it is. We just got it in the 80s. Let's now cancel our 60 fill. We just got another 80 fill there. So that was good, man. So we'll take another 40 cents on this and just see where it goes. If it tanks, it tanks. If it gets up to this 198.60 area, then we're going to stop out. So good little make back there on this. Meta, here goes Meta. So it's a good move to get a little bit out. If that breaks the high, then we are out of Meta, man. 495. No thank you on Meta as it's going high side right now. There it goes, a break of 495 on Meta, and we're gone. Look at the market. Really,
Market's now flying.
Yeah, really turning on its head. Meta has a 30-cent spread. So when we talk about slippage, be careful because it could be a juicy one here as Meta just flying around a bit here.
Slippage is important. Bitcoin just took a high, yesterday's high. IBIT broke it as well. I'm now long 63, 62 was that top. We got out of Dodge just in time. Boeing actually held the bottom there, so I was able to get out in front of 184. I said if Intel gets above 45, I get back into that one. It's right back above that 45 level. Come on, get to twos, get to twos. I'm going to show you guys IBIT because I just got that breakout. So IBIT breaking yesterday's highs and now continuing to run. So if you're following Bitcoin, the reason for us to trade IBIT I think Sean already went over this when he was trading IBIT, but just it's we can go both directions. We can't short it here at Real Trading on BTC. We do have access to BTC directly, but we can only go one direction. And IBIT trades like a stock, and we trade stocks. So it's so much more comfortable to look at a level 2. It looks like it's trading like a normal stock. So IBIT to the upside, looking for 42 at the top. We just got some out on the initial break to the upside, and here comes Intel again above 45. I'd like to see a little more strength in buying before I do the same thing again. And if we're just going to get in and out and stop for 15 cents, I think that's being a little bit sloppy. Let's look for a little bit more strength, some sideways action, buyers higher, higher lows, and some pattern trading that we can work ourselves into. If I'm going long, I need a good reason for this on Intel, not just a break-even even dollar level.
All right. Man. All right. So, you know, all the shorts not working, but at least we got Apple. We just took $1 on Apple long, but it doesn't really, I mean, we're making back sort of some of that blood that we shed earlier on. Meta broke higher. So again, it's going to be a loss, but like we're kind of being pretty cautious with what we're trying to do here. But look at NVIDIA. So we're not, like, I mean, cautious. We were taking 40, 50 cents there before we wound up losing. We were short there. I think we were short at, what, 490? We probably lost about $1 on that. So, you know, all in all, like I said, a hit for sure. Not trying to hide that. And then AMD, we actually made money on our last short. So this was all good. Shorting there at the 50 period and then getting it out on that story. And then all of a sudden the break happens and we lose 30 cents on the last piece. So, you know, pretty good overall there. Happy with the performance on that. ARM, we're just holding a piece here to see. It's that same piece as before. Trying to base out a little bit right now, but you know, this name has stories behind it. We already talked about that there today. It's probably done now. So let's just wait to see if we can get something up and around 130, then we'll try that again on ARM. There's the flush now on AMD. So AMD just went down about $1 instantly. So nice little clock there.
Wow, another failed breakout. Look, so when you take a breakout trade, always a tight stop on a breakout. Some people like to hold it, not me, no chance. If I'm getting out 1-to-1 at 15 cents, I'm holding it to a 15-cent loss. And look at Bitcoin again. I feel like the fate on these levels is just going to be better some of these times. It is what it is. Like, we'll end up being flat on that, but only because we have what I like to call a tight stop on those trades. I pretty much always do. I got out of Apple and neglected to say VWAP. I mentioned I'm holding it to VWAP, and that's it. So we got VWAP on Apple. On to the next. You've always, to me, at the open, I like going from step to step. So get in, get out. If I get my profit target, take it. If something is trending, try to join the trend. But on that flush, you can probably guess I just jumped back into Mara on that BTC move. I wanted to go back over to Boeing because if this market is going to take it back higher, we wanted to short the pop. So I got out when the market bounced on Boeing. I'm sorry, the market bounced, I got out of Boeing. Boeing is actually holding the lows. So this name still under a tremendous amount of pressure is the best way to put it. And shout out to you, David Kyle, for reminding everybody that Microsoft is absolutely flying today. Up 1.6% is Microsoft. And at the high of the day. We should be long some softy.
Yeah, we do.
Apparently.
Definitely.
Damn.
We'll take some IBIT down here against 41 right now. So it's a nice little $1,000 flush on Bitcoin there. So we'll take it here. I know there's not many green names on the board for us here today, but we'll see if we can get IBIT back up here into 41 again, flushing down. We're just watching Bitcoin here, 72 and change. So let me just go over here and have a quick little look to see what just happened right now. So we'll go over to a 1 minute. I mean, we have seconds on here as well. There's, wow. So there's the top at 73, literally on Binance, 73 bottom there. So, or top, sorry. And then right there from 73 down to 71.8. So I feel like you may want to play off 71.7, but here comes 71.7 right now. So we got to go over and address this. So there it is right there. We can, like I said, as me and Neil both mentioning here, we can trade IBIT. So we'll do that here off the bottom, but we just touched 41 there on IBIT again, and now flushing around. So watch out. If this breaks too much lower, there's 40.94, 40.90. So I think that that's going to be something there to look at on a flush down through for IBIT breaking lower. So yeah, nasty little move here, needless to say, in crypto off of the high. I mean, it's a great day for crypto.
We've seen it do that before.
Yeah, you're at 73,000. I mean, for me to sit here and say there's anything wrong, I think that would be incorrect as well. So let's just wait to see what happens here. But a nice pullback. We will try the long. Apple's screaming right now, by the way, up to 172.50. That's $1.30 now in the money on Apple.
Yeah, and of course, when that turn happened, I went to Mara to short. I didn't short IBIT, but shorted Mara. Didn't quite get into VWAP there, but when it broke the 2050 to the downside, local support, now holding at 2020 actually, so $20 in 2020. The initial short was the best one. On the way back up, no good, but when Bitcoin failed that top, quick little scalp trade in Mara. I'm getting out in front of 20 because I think it's a little bit of a stair step into the upside, and now I almost want to trail it because I want to keep things a little bit tighter to the vest at this particular time. So we're at 10:13, and this market feels like it's already done an entire morning's worth of trade. That's what's so crazy about it. Jumping back over to something that was on my hit list that never got there. You got AMD nowhere close to those highs, trying to reassess. If it gets back underneath 197, that was a big level. That's yesterday's low. Weakness under 197, I think, can be a short there. Just want to jump from the names that we were trying to trade this morning and try to go back into them if we can. Whoa, there was a push.
There's a flushy.
All right. So, and if I say that I'm going station to station, taking my profits where they lie in a morning like this, every once in a while you're going to get out on momentum down and it's going to flush lower. That's just how it's going to be. So I said I was getting out in front of 20. I got out in front of 20. That was a punch short because Bitcoin failed the high, and I just scalped it from 47 into the $20 level. So in and out. Sometimes that's the right thing to do. Sometimes it's the wrong thing to do. Speaking of, Boeing still will not pop back into VWAP for me to reshort this name. I want to stick to Boeing. I want to be looking at them chips. I want to try to short Mara if we get any weakness over in Bitcoin. So just try to stick to the plan. Luke Waters saying another entry for Boeing looks like it's coming up. Yeah, and it might just be wherever it happens to turn. Just because I want 85 to 85.5, what if it turns at 84.90 or 85 even? I might just short that as well. I'm going to get off the offer and play this by ear. See the curl and then just hit it.
All right, we just should have shorted more ARM up there, really, realistically. It's kind of funny that, like, you know, this trade is really the one that we've left, went all the way to the downside, then we could have just shorted it again and worked it out pretty good there. I'm going to try to get out of some more Apple now on that upside. We just touched 50. We'll take some out at 30. And again, our number one idea was an Alibaba long at 75. I want to thank you guys in the chat, but it's so crazy. Like, I just should have been looking at this more. We were watching AMD. This went right into 75.25, like 75.20, sorry. That's the long all day there. So I don't really understand why I wasn't really over there on that particular moment. So we'll have to come back into Alibaba. Thank you so much for reminding me. As the number one trade idea, we should be at least in the money here, 30 or 40 cents. We should have been buying these dips on Alibaba. Instead, we were trying to chase that waterfall in AMD, which wound up not waterfalling at all, except for right now when we're not in it. But again, we traded the VWAP, we traded the 50 period, and both times fell down. So for me on this trade, I'm actually completely fine with the way this went. We took profit when profit was there, just kept on running us up. So when that happens, we'll get hit on that. So every time, 10 times out of 10, we get that hit. ARM falling back down again. I'm just mad that we're not short again on that. That's all. You know what? We could look at SMH because this could be something, again, if you didn't want to trade NVIDIA or specifically AMD and you want to look at Intel and the whole bunch of them all together, we do have some barcoded action right here. And I was actually going to look at this because it just came into my scan because it's right at VWAP again, right down here at 222.80. So if the market holds highs right now, which it's trying to, I mean, highs is up here, but highs of the open market right now, then maybe the SMH is what we're going to look at for a long. We're long IBIT right here at 17. It did flush in a little bit. We took some out at O's, then some out here at 07 right now. Just to, again, we've been red on it so far, but we're going to hold this. We're only long at 17. I don't have any offers until 30s. So if this starts to rip back up to the upside, let's see if Bitcoin wants to go. It just held 71.7 again on that flush. So you know, I feel like maybe that level could be something. I mean, again, pretty aggressive move right there for
say the
BTC.
least.
So let's just, yeah, it's only $1,000. I mean, it did that same, it did 10,000 and whatever before on that first move when these were all released. But yeah, we had IBIT in our own account here at $34 off 60,000 when we flushed that time. Let's see if it can get back going to the upside now. IBIT and Apple. We did get that Apple fill, by the way.
Yeah, so here comes, Boeing's back at 184.80, so it's close to that 85 level. Starting to see weakness underneath on AMD, but 97 hasn't really broken yet. I want to try to catch this as it's heading back into the downside. So I might just wet the beak in front of 85. If it bounces over 85, 185.5 is about VWAP. So I'm on the offer, trying to get some Boeing. Just want to rinse and repeat the trades that have been working off the levels that have worked. Off the trend that has worked here. It's not really the same level, but it is lower highs on Boeing. I have not traded AMD, but 197 is a big level. It's starting to give up 197 on a bit of a breakdown. VWAP sits up at like 197.5, which does give us a nice little spot to work with. So I said if there was weakness under that price, I would go for it. If it holds under VWAP, great. I think it's a chance to retest some of those lows. It's a good thing we got out of that Intel trap. I want to check in on NVIDIA if we're going to be trading this. NVIDIA is holding higher lows. So, I mean, AMD is relatively weak compared to the other chip name. But if NVIDIA does this and then takes out that top, remember 888 is a big level on NVIDIA. That was yesterday's high. A break of 82s gives you a $5 scalp trade.
Right.
And like that's, on NVIDIA, that's not bad. If you get an 882 break and this market wants higher, I do like that. But if I'm shorting one, I'll go for the one underneath VWAP, and that's right now AMD. Microsoft, we should be looking for longs on Softy up here. I like VWAP at this time of day. The breakout was above 410. It's trying to hold 410. I'll let this try to retest VWAP before I jump into that to the long side. And as far as Intel goes, like I said, 45, it's got to be above 45. If no one's buying above 45, I don't want to be buying Intel either.
Yeah, no, agree with that one. ARM's starting to come back down in again. I see, are you in that AMD? Because I don't know what to do with that stock, man. I was waiting for one.
I want it underneath 197. So the second it showed weakness under there, I popped into the short. If it breaks this local high, I got to get out. So giving it about $1. It's $3 to the low. There's a chance, but this market is kind of looking strong here. A little bit. But at least it's under VWAP.
Oh, no.
That's the thing. And by the way, when I said that breakout on NVIDIA, just because I'm short AMD doesn't mean I wouldn't take that breakout. Like, I don't care. If NVIDIA sets up a break like this at 82, I'm just taking it.
All right, I just realized we got stopped out a little bit there of IBIT, but not everything. I had an order out there for if we broke down through 71.7. We did bounce off of that level. ARM is working. I know the reason why I was talking about AMD there is because I'm looking at that stock as well, trying to get into something there. But ARM is starting to fall back a little bit into 126 again, so this is still $4. Apple's still holding out highs. IBIT's not doing jack all as we just took that bottom, but we're still in it. I'm going to put another order in. If we break that one more time, then we're going to get out of IBIT. Again, we're just kind of playing around with this, but I just think that Bitcoin can bounce off this level. So here it goes in again. No matter what I think, you know, Bitcoin's going to have a mind of its own, as we've all seen. So here we go back in now for IBIT. Looks like Bitcoin wants to test that 71.7 break one more time. Sorry about that. I thought we could bounce off some of those levels, and maybe we will. But let's go over to the desk with Adair and find out what's going on over there.
IWM slightly to the downside here. We were seeing some support around 204.50, but it looks like we're continuing to sell off a little bit here for the Russell 2000. Definitely not doing so, though, in some of these other small cap runners today, including Assure Holdings. IONM is the ticker for this one. This one's a bit more of a penny stock, but it does have a catalyst. It's entered into an agreement to sell some of its assets to Empower Health for up to $4.5 million. So nice look here for IONM. We also have Clear One CLRO. This one was on the watch list this morning. They've announced a special one-time cash dividend of up to 50 cents per share, up over 100%. Last but not least, here another one that was on the watch list: Regulus Therapeutics, RGLS. This one announcing some positive patient data and also announcing an oversubscribed $100 million private placement of equity. So nice look across the board here for RGLS, guys.
All right. RGLS. All right, so we're still in a lot of the same names. I was debating looking back again at Meta because now Meta's holding this high up here at 494 with the market holding highs as well. So maybe potentially this is going to be a decent long. We tried the short already in Meta. We are down on it, but it's not a bad down at all. We'll see if we can get that back here, if it gets back into 493.50. Maybe these levels that we were buying before on Meta. It's 1022. Like, I feel like I should be having some more setups that I'm really looking for right now. Oracle, not really doing anything. We did want to look down here at 124, which, by the way, we wrote down as Oracle 124 long. It goes to 124.50, then pops $5. So that would have been something that we should have taken. Here goes IBIT. We'll see if it can make some back. We're long at 41.03. Let's try to see if we can take 15s. That's kind of where it stopped before. We'll get 10% out there. Then my next offer is not till 41.50 on IBIT. So I want to see us really go. So let's see if we can do that and make a little bit of money back on IBIT now, back up to the upside. We are down on it, but again, holding out hope.
Okay, here it comes.
This does want to bounce. Here, what comes?
NVIDIA, I just got taken out of AMDs. It took out that 97 half, so we shorted underneath. This is why I had 97 short. Underneath there, yesterday's bottoms, if it was going to break down to the lows. But if you're starting to churn up, I'm jumping out there, and NVIDIA's at 879. So that breakout, here it comes. 882 is the high of the day. Double top, there's room to 888, which was yesterday's high, pretty much on a dime. And then from there, Friday's lower high was, check that, I said 900, it was 915. Why did I say 900? 900 was this high.
Check it.
But there's still plenty of room to the upside. If you want to take out 882, great. 880 has yet to break. Actually, never mind. It's gone by like 10 cents or so. There's no bid above 880. So it's like 879, 80s on the bid, and then over 80s is on the offer. But I want 82 as a breakout trade. Double top turning into a triple top here in NVIDIA. I am still in Boeing. Boeing is still a little bit of a dog. Just got that short. Didn't quite get into VWAP there. This is going to continue to stair step down. You know, it was the one we liked the most yesterday, and I feel like it's the safest short today because the market regaining its strength. The NASDAQ now up 0.7%. So 182 break on NVIDIA. If we get it, we get it. Intel, I still say I want this one holding above 45. I'm not buying dips on it. I want strength above that price to go long into the high of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Good calls there. We're trying to get some out of IBIT. Apple's still trying to go. ARM's trying to go. Oh, we made a keystroke on Boeing, but we got out there. We meant to get short if it breaks 184, and instead we just put the offer out and got the fill immediately on that one. So that was a mistake, and we're out on Boeing. I was just looking if it broke 184, but it didn't. So now I'm waiting to see if that's maybe a bottom to come through on that. Okay, here we go. Let's make some money back in a serious way here if we can. Let's just continue to look at IBIT. So hopefully this will start to go again now. All right, into the 20s. Let's offer some out. Here we go. So not being super familiar with this and the movements, we're just going to trade it as a stock with using a Bitcoin there as some of the levels that we were looking at before.
NVIDIA
right?
does NVIDIA things.
Oh, no, sorry, IBIT.
Oh,
IBIT,
yes.
yeah. So we're just talking about looking at IBIT against Bitcoin and just trying to say, like, although we don't normally trade this, if it comes up to VWAP like it just did, we'll take a piece out, but I'm still waiting for 50s all the way to the upside. So let's see if it can, there we go. Like I said, man, it's been hard to find some winners for me today, and it's just, now that we have this, I'm getting a little excited and potentially getting out a little bit too early, but here goes IBIT back up to the upside. So now guys, let's try to be patient with what I'm finally trying to do, and let's now wait for that 50 level. So right now, nice move to the upside. It's IBIT starting to go a little bit.
Yeah, so 882. I got the break at 82s and in at 33. So we Patrick Ewing'd that level in terms of slippage. That's a shout out to you because the last time we used 33, I said Larry Bird, who is obviously a little bit more famous, but it doesn't really make a difference. We're both boomers.
Draymond Green
882.
hit. Did you hear the stat about Draymond Green?
No.
He has more three-pointers made than Larry Bird.
That's because... Oh.
I know. I'm not.
I love
it's
Michigan.
It's just a funny, stupid stat.
I'm a Michigan State fan, so I have some love for Draymond Green because I loved him when he was in college. I'll leave it at that. But the 82 break, I got 33s on NVIDIA. It went straight up. The initial push had a big seller at the $1 mark. So I took a third out there. Then it got to 885 where there was a seller, so I jumped out in front there. And then my target for the last out, like I said, is going to be 888. Breakout, to me, is a trend trade back in 888. It's my style. That's how I'm going to roll. If it can't hold on to 82s, I jump out. As a matter of fact, usually when you have that kind of a break, I'm going to give it $1. So first target dollar, out is $1. But now that it's above, I want break even, or at least tighter to break even. If it breaks down underneath 882, I'm just going to jump out of it. So that's the way I structure it. Do with it as you like. NVIDIA, once again, defying all odds, up 3%. And so what? Pulled back $100 and wants to go green again. So I'm long NVIDIA, short Boeing, because Boeing is Boeing at this particular point. I do want to check in on Microsoft for everybody, because Microsoft, buy quality names off major moving average bounces. I mean, Microsoft, the 50 period is at $400 on the daily. Okay, well, what did it do yesterday? I mean, it bounced off 401, and then look at it today. And off of that, bad news for Gemini. I mean, good news for Microsoft, I think. 413, so we're not going to get this one on a dip buy. Well, I'm going to slap a fail on myself for not finding a way back into, or not back into Microsoft at all, is the way to put it. Wow, Softy.
Microsoft's a beast. That is for sure. All right, so IBIT's still going. I mean, the thing about this is our number one trade on here is BABA. Then we have Oracle long 124, which was $5. And then we have Apple long, which is right now $1.50 in the money. But we did bleed out today on AMD, but we're into the 200 period. We want to give that a go if we can. I am offering in here into the 80s just to see. There's been so much, violence in this name that I almost, you know what, let's just take a small piece here then at 70s. I was just going to say, we should be able to get prices that we want to get if we're in and around them. But there we go. I just put an 80 offer, and look what just happened. I could have just punched 79s there. So there we go, backfire on that one for sure, as there it comes back to the downside. Just take the shares, man, if you like them. 20 cents isn't gonna matter that much, but okay, there it is. So I just wanted to say we will. Okay, now we got them. I did want to give this a break until the level that I put down was 199.50, so that's 199.40 right there. So let's take a small shot in the ARM, which is AMD right here, at these levels, and then see if we can't get a little bit of a better price up near 199, maybe in the 80s or the 90s, and then we'll hold on to that against 199.50 and average it as we go back upside a little bit there for AMD. Let's just see if it fades out a little bit there. I don't know. I was looking at NVIDIA and thinking the same thing, but NVIDIA is just so much stronger on the day, up 3%, and actually looks a lot different. I'm trying to play relative weakness here. Like, if these chip names start to fall down a little bit, then we're pretty confident that we're going to have a decent spot here with AMD. So I'd rather short AMD right now than NVIDIA, but short so far. I'm red on AMD, shorting it. So it hasn't been the greatest trade to do that. We'll watch out for 199. Congratulations, Chef Joe. I saw your note there, being long NVIDIA off that bottom. I feel like that's every day we should just be looking at strength, especially when I turned this bear. Like, I turned the bear into a bull at like 40, whatever, when we came on the air right there. So we should have been thinking a little bit more bullish, than what we are right now. Okay, there goes NVIDIA taking out highs right now, up 3 and a bit. ARM is still $4 in the money. IBIT is starting to go finally for us, but still just, all right, here I go again, just that view up again for IBIT, so we might as well take another piece out. We're still gonna try to wait for 50s, hopefully that hits, and then we're now into a short on AMD. You're long NVIDIA.
I just covered NVIDIA off of that local high. It didn't quite get to 888, but it just did a dipsy-do at the 886.5. So we're out of the breakout trade. NVIDIA 882 to 886.5. We'll take it. Likewise, I lost on shorting AMD, but we got this one to target. The futures were at the high as well. It's just my style of trade, guys. If you're holding on to that long, you could see a 900 today. I'll look for a way back into it. Just take the money and run. But do never forget, good out, Neil, as we go to the desk, let's get that crypto update, because BTC has been oddly stable since that little flush.
How about that?
And there's 88s.
Of There's a lot to talk about with regards to BTC, but also worth noting an interesting note here potentially on those possible Ethereum ETFs coming from a senior Bloomberg ETF analyst, basically saying that they've cut Bloomberg and this analyst have cut their looks at a ETF for Ethereum coming in May to about 35%. So they think the chances of it coming then are a little bit lower than initially thought because there's been a bit of silence from the SEC basically comparing the approval process to that what we saw with Bitcoin. They think that this ETF could be a little ways down the line. So just some interesting food for thought here on that potential Ethereum ETF. We also have Bitcoin itself, as Neil and Sean were just saying, fairly stable here, just above that 72,000, but holding up pretty well. We did make those new all-time highs yesterday, above that 73,000 level, so really nice look across the board here for BTC, and a little bit more of a mixed picture for some of these other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum trading a little bit lower, but still holding up above that 44,000 level. Solana and Cardano both slightly positive on the day. Ripple up about 12%. Avalanche up about 5%, but Shiba Inu down about 3% here, guys.
All right. 890 just broke. 890 on NVIDIA continues to go higher. I did get, look, obviously Intel's above 45 with all this mess happening, so I just got long in that one. If you do have any dips, I got to go back to the breakout price. The last break, which was at that 886, and from there back into 82. If there's even going to be a dip, AMD is now joining the party. Hasn't gotten through the 200 level. Like I said, it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. If this gets up to pre-market highs, that looks like 201.5 on a 200 break, that's where I think you could have a little bit of a curl on AMD. But all eyes on NVIDIA, as that is the absolute parabolic mover. Oh, sorry, I should check that for a second. SMCI also breaking up. SMCI is up 5%, also breaking up. I don't want to give all the credit to NVIDIA. You know SMCI is going to do its thing as well.
Yeah, and NVIDIA and AMD are both been shorts for me and losers for me here today, as AMD is going up to 200 right now as well. It was a good thing that we got out of IBIT up there because it fell back in pretty nicely as well as IBIT there, falling back into some support again into 41 bucks. So there's a couple outs for us down there, or up there, sorry. Let's see if it wants to continue. But nice move back down here for IBIT. So looks like we'll have to be red on that name, but who knows for how long. Apple's starting to go upside as well, finally. So that's nice to see. All right, here we go. Apple trying to fade out a little bit. The market right now up 1%. So that's a big congratulations to anybody that went long there. Like I said, we had sort of that bullish feeling, but not that we're up today because we've been shorting some of these crazier names. ARM Holdings, another one that is just kind of dancing right now, not doing too much. Let's see if we get a flush or not, but the semis are leading the way today. What's up, Adara?
Microcloud Hologram, HOLO, currently halted, but this one trying to run again here. We've seen lots of moves in the past year to the upside since about February for this name. Right now, not seeing any news on it, though the float is under 2 million shares, so really small float. HOLO, trying to run again here, guys.
Man, what isn't running right now in this market?
The only thing it's not running that I can see is Boeing,
Apple's
for
running.
obvious reasons. But there has not been, you can't even check this move on NVIDIA. Like, it's just continuing to rise. I think we're going to be at 9. Maybe we get to 900 without a pullback on NVIDIA. It just got to 894. I'm still looking for a dip, whether it's the breakout at 82s. I jumped into the local breakout of the high on Intel. There was your consolidation top, but by that time I was kind of a little bit late to it looking at NVIDIA. If we get more in front of 45, great. If it gets to the pre-market high, going to take some out. Got to have the ability to be nimble. As Jameson in the chat just said, Airbnb short. I mean, I don't know how good any shorts are looking right now. But we'll have a look at Airbnb. I don't necessarily, at the high of the day, right now, without a reason, up at tops, not really. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that one. I can't see a reason to be in it. Boeing makes sense under VWAP, bad news. I have a reason for liking that one, even as it's trying to press higher. Flat bottom break on Boeing. Shorted earlier off of VWAP that worked, so I'm short this one again. Going to get some out in front of 184, I should say. So let's see if we get a pullback at all in NVIDIA to get back into that one. That's going to end up being another 860 was a good break the other day. 882 pretty much giving you the same thing. Let's see if we can't get any kind of a dip buy with NVIDIA churning to the upside here.
All right, just trying to watch out for some IBIT. Yeah, you know, we finally caught some ARM here. Hopefully that, some AMD. Hopefully that will make a move lower here. We just covered, though. We got some nice prints down in the 20s. We got some here. So again, some shorts. So this is what I mean. It's like we're not losing on this. We're shorting, we're getting out, and if it breaks lower, then we're going to be getting out again here at 199. So let's see if it does snap just a little bit lower here. Okay, here we go. So this is what I mean. This is a 60-cent winner right now on this name. So let's go. I'm bidding 05s as if you just saw 06 on the bid. There it is. Okay, finally. Sometimes I feel like it's hard to trust me when I say those things because it seems like we just miss by pennies every time. But right there, you saw me get the 05 as it flushed back in, as we just talked about that. So here comes AMD. I mean, we'll hit the dollar winner, but we can go positive on this name. Let's just get to the downside here for Advanced Micro Devices. I'm bidding 198. Okay, here we go. I might just take a piece out right now. Why not? It's down to 90s. Let's see if we can get something on AMD, hopefully falling in even more than where we are right now. 199 and change. It's an 80-cent winner. We're looking for more. I mean, we didn't even have a bid. Now we have a bid. We're bidding 89s. As if 92 just shows up there, but okay, whatever. We're bidding 89s, then we're bidding again in the 60s. Maybe we get those, maybe we do not, but here it comes. Come on. That'll be a good trade if we can do that. IBIT. We're long at 03. Honestly, I was trying to get like all revengey on IBIT and everything, but if this just pops back up, then good on us, and we'll just take some out here. We don't have, there we go, we get some 09s. We don't have to be right on this, but oh, what a dip down there. All right, let's take a 199 and just cancel our 89 fill. There it is, we'll cancel that. We'll take an 05 there. Again, just playing with pennies here. Seems like playing with fire. I feel like there's a bigger move coming, but we've been wrong on AMD. Not that much. I mean, this is a right trade right now. It's just shorting it as AMD continues to go up has not been right. It's more about looking at NVIDIA, right? I mean, as NVIDIA goes right now, so goes everything. I mean, the chart of the market almost overlays perfectly with NVIDIA. Here's it barcoding between 10 and 1030. Look at NVIDIA. 10 and 1030. Here's the market, boom. Here's NVIDIA, boom. Right? And then you're going to look at other names like an AMD or even like a Microsoft. Let's have a quick look at Microsoft and see what that looks like. Obviously bouncing off, but you could see actually Microsoft looks pretty similar to NVIDIA as well, although NVIDIA a little bit higher. Microsoft's still up 3%. Meta is the one that's hitting up here near 5 bills again. Wow. Good trade there for Meta. What about a short near 500? But again, we should be looking long. Market up 1%. We turned bullish down here in the market, like wherever we were when we started the show, right into here, probably about here. So 8, now it's up to 18. So it's about 100 handles now upside. Maybe there is a fade coming in this market, but we're short ARM, we're short AMD, and we're long Apple. We wanted to be long Apple, so this one really helps today. So nice move backside there for Apple. Good outs there on IBIT, but not much happening, to be honest with you.
So a new position for me, I threw in the chat that Marvell was weak. So it's stair-stepping down. It's a chip name that's red on the day when the market's breaking high, so you look for trends. That's at least a downward trend. It's been bleeding since earnings. So I kind of like this one. If I have to find a fade trade, let's stick to, I mean, obviously I talked about Boeing, but let's stick to names that are relatively weak. So underneath VWAP, underneath its last resistance level, as NVIDIA's just backing off of 895. We're going to take you over to Adara for Sector Watch to see what we might be missing out on. Like, what else is going here?
Quite a few sectors actually showing some strength right now. We have retail trade pretty much upside across the board here, led by Amazon and Costco. Costco starting to recover from that post-earnings sell-off we were seeing over the last couple days. Commercial services seeing a lot of upside across the board here as well. Transportation, Uber here, UPS, all very strong. Distribution also pretty strong here. Of course, though, we do have to talk about some of these tech sectors. Actually, a lot of strength in technology services. Meta recovering from its sell-off yesterday, and Oracle, of course, leading this group to the upside on its earnings, which includes some revenue growth in the cloud space, and also teasing a potential collaboration or some announcements coming up with NVIDIA for the next week. So Oracle definitely on watch for that reason. We also have the chip space on watch with that ARM post-IPO lockup. And then also the NVIDIA movement to the upside here, EVGO to the downside, AMD also a little bit weak, so lots to watch in this chip space as always. Health technology and finance both a little mixed here to round things up, guys.
Yeah, good to look at some of the health technology stocks. I mean, yesterday Moderna was an absolute. That stock was just a rocket yesterday. I haven't even looked at it today. I'm going to get back over to Mar in a quick second, but I got to update you on Marvel. It just took out Marvell, just took out VWAP there and churned through. So we short that first consolidation, a little bit lower high. I'd still want to play this to short side, but I do not want to be fighting anything when the market's breaking out these tops. So let's see what happens. I just got a note on Intel. I'll get to that in a second. When the NASDAQ's breaking higher like this, I want to take my shots and then make sure that we're getting out when the getting is good, because you're seeing relative strength in the market. I was long NVIDIA for the break, and I never found my way back into it. If you're looking back over at Mara, that's been another good shorting opportunity. But down here, don't want to chase. If I'm getting back into this, I need to see it do another curl. We got it well waiting for it to curl, like the two ones that worked, and then the mistakes were getting it on the way back up. So get on the way back up, lose, get on the way back up, lose, get on the way down, and you're laughing. So I think that's the way to approach this for Mara. If you're watching IBIT, I mean, that's still holding support, but if it breaks support, I know I want Mara short, and if you happen to be looking at Coinbase as well, I mean, that's setting up for maybe a 250 break. I think Mara is weaker than Coinbase, that's all. I'm not going to get any more complex than that. I think Mara is just a weaker stock than Coinbase.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, Mara's been weak for a very long time.
For a hot minute. Yeah.
Just for a hot minute, yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so what's not weak right now is a freaking reload on AMD. We just got this on the top there, so let's put some more money in that laundromat and just push wash, because there it comes in. A nice move back down for AMD again, making some nice moves back in again. So we'll just watch out. We just put a 199 flat trade there. We'll put a bid here in the O's, see if it can get it. This is kind of that violence that we've been talking about in these names. Like just as Neil was talking, or Adara there, we got this short at basically 200, and then now it just, or 200, yeah, sorry. And then now it just fell right back into our lap again, all the way upside. So we'll bid one more bid down here at O's, and then there it is. So we get that, we get 10, it was 10s. Now we'll wait to see if it falls down, because a couple tops now at 2 bills. Psychological level. It's only a Tuesday, but you do have 0-day trade options now. So, you know, maybe something there to look at off of a 200 level now. Put writers, maybe we'll push this thing down a little bit. They don't get called out on it, but we'll wait to see here what happens for this. We do have the 50 period at 198.40. We have a lot of consolidation here in the midway, 198.50. So,
just to point off that for the 0-day options.
Yeah, go ahead.
On a CPI day, you would expect a little bit of extra volume on those. So when you have an economic number, that's all I'm getting at. I think you might have a little bit more extra juice. And so you get those even levels, they can matter. Of course, NVIDIA just took out 895. There's not going to be a dip to get into this that's going to be suitable for my tastes. So NVIDIA looks like it wants 900. Now, earlier in the show, a lot earlier, I sort of said, you got 900 for a resistance spot, and then you've got 915. I'm not saying I'm going short NVIDIA at those levels, but those are the levels that I'll be looking for shorts. I am back into Marvell. I always think you're better off looking for when it sells off. And I got in on the way up. Let me go to the 3-minute chart so you can see this a bit easier. I got in on the way up and then out. When it came back under VWAP, I take the short under VWAP and I'll give it to the local high. I always want to give it to some kind of a respective out. Intel is only about 5 cents in the money, has yet to break the high of the day, like NVIDIA is doing every 5 seconds. Because NVIDIA is NVIDIA. We're ignoring Amazon, says Val Storino.
Yeah, there's a lot of stocks we're most likely ignoring today.
Gotta stick to what you're trying to trade, but yeah, Amazon up 2.5%,
What? Did AMD just
absolutely
break there?
flying. There has not been a red candle since the opening candle on Amazon. Rocket ship to the upside.
Wow. Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball. Nice upside move here for AMD. It's just continuously going here. So bye-bye now for AMD as it just takes that out. So again, we talked about covering some of that. Like it was like, wow, we're $1 in the money there. Covered some of it, so that was pretty nice right there. So we'll wait to see if and when it comes back in. Doesn't look like it wants to. Apple, $1.50. ARM still $3. iBit making a little bit of a move back. Let's see if we get, there we go. We'll just get out an 11 on iBit. Hopefully it starts to climb the rest of the day. We still have a 9. Actually, let's just cancel and see if we get back up here to 41.30s again on iBit. It looks like AMD might, like, see, this is the problem. I think like, oh, you know, we made $1 there and then basically lost nothing on the reload. So why not go back in it, right? Well, that's not. NVDA is at $900.
$896.
Right now, which reminds me, let's find out what's for lunch. All right, today you're gonna be a little bit happy with it because I haven't had any chicken dinner. Well, I've had a couple chicken dinner winners, but not like normal here. So we're gonna have to say, okay, maybe it's something other than chicken today. And if you're a fan of salmon, then today you get citrus roasted salmon. So we'll barbecue that up. You know, barbecued salmon, skin down is pretty nice. Yeah, of course, with herbed cream sauce. Okay, that's okay. And mini roasted potatoes with a little steamed bok choy. So a little bit of a nice assortment there today for lunch. So
If it's
that
not
is
baby bok choy.
yeah, it just says steamed bok choy. So I don't think it'll be of the baby version. But so far so good there. But yeah, that's what we're doing for lunch. Put what you're having for lunch in the chat.
NVIDIA 900s,
If you know,
apparently.
it's pretty early.
Apparently, NVIDIA 900s is what everyone's
That's
about
what's
to
for
have.
lunch?
Well, it's not for lunch. It's for right now.
Yeah.
Mara just got to the $20 level. I'm back into that one. Boeing does not hold on to VWAP this time, although that is a bad wick. It did eventually. Look, these are dark pool wicks up to 188. It did eventually hold above anyway, so whether that wick stopped you out, it would have stopped me out regardless. If Boeing holds VWAP, I don't want to jump back into it until it tests back up to like 189 or sells back underneath. Way too much strength in this market. What do we have? Someone just said something about bok choy. I'll see that in a second, hamster. But you're going to get 900 on NVIDIA literally any second now. It feels like you're about to get a breakout. I hate 1050 breakouts. I'm not going to lie to you. So I think the approach on a break here was be look for a failed break, breaking 900 and immediately failing it, and then try to buy the dip on that move somewhere into the low to mid 90s. So I'll look for a failed breakout in NVIDIA to try to get back into that one to the long side. Intel's about to break the highs, but I think NVIDIA 900 is just a little bit more interesting. What say everybody else? I think you'd agree.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. So, you know, in sticking with what we've been doing, it won't be me today, but today, the league leader, he's in his Lambo. It's Max. Congratulations for a big day behind us, Max. And then in second place, catching a ride on the Lambo, is Mr. Wayne. Wayne in the background over there making some damage done as well. So congratulations for a couple big days behind us with Max and Wayne leading the way. And if you do also want to become onto a trading floor and become as good as either one of those guys, then you can see Brendan right here. But you can also go over to Real Trading right now. That's the platform that we're trading on. Trade smart, not hard. Make winning trades with Real Trading. We already talked about these numbers. Unfortunately, it's not available in the United States, but 400 million shares a day, 3 billion trades, 50+ K markets. It's a good one. It's Real Trading. Join us on the platform ASAP, especially those of you that are here in the lovely north of, well, Toronto is where we are, but in Canada you can open up an office or join an office that exists as well. And of course, everywhere except for the United States. And there goes that NVIDIA breaking through 9 bills right there as fast as we can say it. Up $2, up $3, and still ripping. Congratulations as you go money hunting over the last couple days and find it in NVIDIA, up another 5 points today, and says hold my beer to everybody, and drinking beers if you are long over there as well. Again, congratulations to Max and Wayne today, as it's been a big one. It's 10:50 and it's Money Talks with A.
Second candle in a row here to the upside for the DXY. For the second day in a row here, more DXY upside. Worth noting here, too, we did get that CPI data earlier today. Month over month coming for February, coming in basically as expected here, so 0.4 versus 0.4 expected. CPI year over year a little bit higher than expected, so 3.2% versus 3.1% expected. Core CPI month over month for February also a bit higher than expected here, so 0.4 upside versus 0.3 plus 0.3 expected. So yet, in general, nice move up here on the DXY on the CPI news, which the market has also been having a bit of a mixed reaction to. We do have PPI data and some retail sales data as well on Thursday, so definitely check that out with regards to how that might move the DXY. And we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro. You can sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders. Just use the code TTV, capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout.
905 on NVIDIA?
Raptors 905 or?
No,
Oh,
NVIDIA 905.
Okay, got it.
So that is like you said, NVIDIA is now a rocket ship. At this time of day, I usually go for like, okay, fail a break and then pull back in and then just buy the dip automatically. But you're absolutely flying on that one. Boeing's even starting to go. That is super strong. I just double checked Tesla there. Tesla is still red and underneath support. But until the market shows some weakness, I don't think you want to jump into anything that isn't already showing weakness. I just want to quickly show IBIT. Like, look at the range. Tight range, fail break of yesterday's high, and then a tight range. I'm backing tomorrow underneath 20 because you're getting that range. If it breaks downside on IBIT, that's Bitcoin, at least you're getting some semblance of relative weakness there. But NVIDIA and the chips have been absolutely flying. I had one breakout long. Should have tried to find a couple of other ones out there for it, but NVIDIA, obviously, any long is going to be your best of the day today. As we go back to Adara.
Yeah, really quick, just news update here. The stock isn't reacting yet, but more news with regards to Boeing. The United CEO is now saying that Boeing has stopped building MAX 10s for the company. So more news for Boeing here, guys. Keep an eye on BA.
All right, well, that's bad for BA right there. But a BA banger for AMD as we're short 201 now as it's coming back in. Like I said, man, we're actually putting damage on NVIDIA, on AMD every time this happens. So good on this trade right now. Let's see how far back in it comes. I'm going to put another bid here at 40 just because, again, like, it hasn't been right, and all these trades that we've had have gone in the money for us every single damn time, and then every single, bless you, every single time it blasts up and takes us out, and then we look back, and at the end of the day, we're going to be red on it. So we're not going to do that anymore. We have one last stop out here, breaking above 201. We'll give it to like 201.30s, 201.40s. But if it gets going, then that's that. Other than that, let's just hold on to this. Maybe we have this, maybe we don't. But I'm going to try. NVIDIA is now pulling into 900. If we lose 900, I mean, NVIDIA could fall $5. I mean, that was sort of the last breakout level. So that's worth the risk, in my opinion, as we may go positive on AMD. I'm going to put something down here at 200, see if we get that fill. Then if we flush, then fine. But honestly, guys, it's about just taking out some profits, like I said, and then not worrying about it. We would be green on this name if every time we took profits and we just didn't take enough of the profits. So here we go again. Let's see if we can get this. We're bidding O's here. We're actually, when I say O's, we're bidding 10s. So sometimes I'll say we're bidding in the teens. It'll be like 13, 14, 15, something like that. But without getting overly specific, that's what we're doing right now on AMD. So let's see if we can get a fill here.
Yeah, and speaking of fills, I'm back into what is still a relatively weak name, but back at you wait till the next level up. If I'm shorting VWAP and VWAP breaks, I get out. And if it gets to the local high and turns, then that sets up again. So Marvell got to 73 and it turned, so I shorted back underneath 73 and I'll play into VWAP. Gonna rinse and repeat it. Mara's starting to come back in, but 900 just went on NVIDIA. So there's the 900 breakdown. That's half the reason to get into a short there on Mara, but it also happened to set up itself. You got to look back to this high. That's 888, yesterday's top, or maybe the 892, 893, where you could get a bit of a curl. But I'd rather, instead of shorting that, I'd rather short something that never broke out its top. That's why we jumped over to Marvell, or back into Marvell, back into the downside. Let's see what happens. Tesla, I mean, whatever, we just got into that. Tesla's actually still going up. So I was looking for if Tesla would curl yesterday's bottoms. Tesla's just breaking back out through those. So let's back away from shorting Tesla. I want to see weakness before just jumping into something. Market's still up 1% and still trending to the upside.
So we just got a crack on AMD lower there into 70s. We did not have a bid. We're going to put a bid now at 85 and see if we can get that now. As we get our $200.10, we talked about sitting there and bidding that. So obviously that comes through now. So that's a good trade. That's another 80-cent winner on AMD. It's kind of like, focusing on certain names tends to be working. We talked about Apple wanting that long. We haven't, man. This is $1.70 in the money. We talked about trading Alibaba long. It would now be 80 cents in the money, but we didn't have those bids out there, and that's our bad off of our number one idea. It just goes to show you, sometimes you get sidetracked. Like, I'm going to be red here on IBIT, and we didn't even really need to look at that. Although Bitcoin did break 73,000 up there, so we were pretty happy with the action on that, and I'm fine playing a pullback into the 200 period all day. So that's where we actually wind up losing. Some of these bids have been fine back to the upside now. Again, we got stopped out, bought it back, took it back in. It's just right now, it's not aggressive enough, you know, to get our money back, but we're going to wait. We said we're going to wait for 50s. Let's just do that. So if that can come through. I did want to look at LLY. Again, it's been dropping down for the last couple of days. Let's just see what it's doing here today. Up 2%, that's nice. A name that we did not buy, that maybe we should have, Costco, down there, 730, so that's bouncing a little bit today as well. It was down to 716, which was pretty close to that 710 area of the 50-period moving average. Another good spot. And there goes NVIDIA, and there goes AMD.
Oh, 900 just bounced.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so just as we were talking about, wow, let's get out of AMD at 200, we just did. Remember we said every time we take the short, this happens, and then we give it all back. So, you know, we learned our lesson a little bit there by taking out the majority of what we had, but we're still in a piece. So let's see what happens here with AMD, man. This stock makes me way too nervous, but we'll put another bid down here and get some out because it's just aggressive long.
Yeah, unless NVIDIA goes back underneath 900, I'm not reloading Marvell. So we got some out halfway to VWAP, but unless I want the leader of the pack to start flushing before I look to a reload here. So I want to see some confluence between this other chip name. So NVIDIA just recovered that 900 big time. Like, it got underneath and got to like 898. That's a bad wick. I don't think it saw 96. I saw 98s as a low. And right back above. If it fails 900 again, then it's Marvell I want to add to, back into the downside. Look, these other names are also starting to fly. Well, continuing to fly. But watch out for Meta here. Meta just wicked back underneath $500. Super strong like everything else, up 3%. But look at that reversal candle now on Meta. I just heard Sharif say topping tail candle. I don't know if he's talking about Meta, but that's what one looks like to me underneath 500. If this can hold under 500, I think it's setting up like a reversal into VWAP here on Meta.
All right, well, I mean, AMD really didn't break. Okay.
Now we're back under.
Wow. All right. Well, AMD didn't break, and we're short more as this name is starting to go with NVIDIA breaking back below $9 right now. Here goes AMD. We just shorted more up there, but again, let's see how far down we want to go now. We may not go at all. Neil mentioned this, and I'm showing it to you now. We break below $9 here, but we're not going. So it doesn't really matter what we do here. We have to, like, by going, I mean, this is just a 50 period. Like, even if we go down $10, we're just giving back 10 minutes of trade. So, I mean, let's see what happens here with NVIDIA and just hope for my sake, for all of you that are long, I mean, congratulations. This is really nice now. I don't think you have too much to worry about unless you're long just right now. But we're short right now, and we're short AMD, and it's not working out. So AMD, we already got out of that one, and there it is, AMD breaking higher. So again,
thank goodness.
Back and forth on that.
So look, we talk about this all the time. You got to watch out, and if you make a mistake, just get right out. NVIDIA, this is a dark pull wick on NVIDIA. Check it out. It did not break that local bottom. It actually ended up holding, but I got him like, oh, I don't want that. Just jump out of the trade. Like that, it did not print down to 882, but you can trigger and get in accidentally. So I did, and I did not want that short on NVIDIA. I told you guys it was Marvell that we wanted, and NVIDIA never broke that local bottom. So I got into Marvell, but just jump out of the trade when it doesn't work. Marvell is still down 0.5%, but what I like about this is it's probably one of the nastiest moves to the downside since its earnings. And Mara's starting to work back into the down. Oh, I just got out of everything in Mara? No, Mara didn't get to 75, did it? Okay.
Well, Bitcoin's tanking now.
And I just covered everything in front of the higher low on Mars. So it worked, but Bitcoin now tanking. So that short just worked out, but I probably shouldn't have got everything out. But we'll take the win as it's now 11:01. Sorry, everybody. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. You can check out all of our positions at Tradertv Live, the dashboard.
Go get
and
it.
we'll be back at 2.
Hopefully
I'll come with the lesson of the day, and it's going to have something to do with economic numbers and how things move off of them. I promise you that, because it was a pretty informative. Not to anchor yourself to some of the first moves that happened. But let's get on over to the professor and Adara. Learn to trade.
Let's go.
Volatility all week.